Chapter 779. Send you to hell, devour! Looking at the gigantic sword wave that Hu Jian had unleashed, the Dark Emperor did not care about anything else. He opened his mouth wide and swallowed it. There were two reasons why the Dark Emperor dared to devour the sword wave unleashed by Hu Jian. Firstly, he was a purple-gold sky-devouring dog. Secondly, after Furball channeled all of its energy into his body and forced out a few drops of blood essence, his aura strengthened to the middle stage of the manifestation realm. The power of the bloodline in his body even showed signs of awakening. The Dark Emperor did not care whether or not he could awaken the power of the bloodline. What the Dark Emperor cared about was whether or not he could severely injure Hu Jian. This was because Ning Yu was preparing over there. Only if he could severely injure Hu Jian would Ning Yu be able to deal a fatal blow to Hu Jian later. In fact, the Dark Emperor brazenly devoured Hu Jian solitaire in order to divert Hu Jian's attention from Ning Yu. Clearly, the Dark Emperor had achieved his goal. Hu Jian's attention was completely attracted by him. This is too exaggerated. Even if you're a sky-devouring dog and your aura has reached the middle stage of the manifestation realm, you won't be able to gain anything from devouring my solitaire, right? Hu Jian's mouth was slightly open as he stared at the Dark Emperor in midair with a dumbfounded expression. He even swallowed a mouthful of saliva. Exaggerated, conceited, arrogant. Hu Jian could think of many words to describe the Dark Emperor, but without exception, they were all bad words. I know that, Black Dog. It has been by Ning Yu's side for a long time. I also know that Black Dog. He is very powerful. 7 days ago at Danwu College, when Ning Yu blocked the attack of the Corpsine sect, he also contributed greatly. No matter how great the contribution is, it's useless. Hu Jian is a martial artist at the peak of the manifestation realm. Even if his sword wave is devoured by the Black Dog, he can still easily kill that Black Dog. The onlookers were just onlookers. No matter what, they would always be criticized and praised. It could be said that if the Dark Emperor killed Hu Jian, there would also be people who would mock the Dark Emperor and Ning Yu. After all, the Dark Sovereign was not truly at the middle stage of manifestation. He had only reached the middle stage of manifestation after fusing with Furball's energy and blood essence. Moreover, the Dark Emperor could only maintain the aura of the middle stage of the creation realm for a dozen seconds. Therefore, he wanted to give Hu Jian the greatest shock and the greatest blow in these dozen seconds. This was the only way to lay a solid foundation for Ning Yu. In order to achieve this, the Dark Emperor resolutely chose to fight Hu Jian head-on after devouring solitaire. Humph! I want to see how much of my solitaire you can swallow. Hu Jian was also a hot-tempered man. He did not choose to kill the Dark Emperor. Instead, he waved the blue jade sword repeatedly and slashed out several sword waves. Buzz! In an instant, an earth-shattering sword wave surged out from the blue jade sword and surged towards the Dark Emperor. Swallow! Devour! Swallow! The Dark Emperor was straightforward and did not reject any of them, swallowing them all into his stomach. Bang, bang, bang! If the Dark Emperor's cultivation had really reached the middle stage of manifestation, he could endure devouring so much solitaire for a short period of time. Most importantly, the Dark Emperor was not truly at the middle stage of manifestation. He had only reached this level for a short period of time. Several dull sounds came from the Dark Emperor's stomach, which gradually grew larger. Moreover, the Dark Emperor's cultivation also began to decline rapidly. In just a few seconds, the Dark Emperor's stomach grew terrifyingly large, and his cultivation dropped to the innate realm like Furball. Ha ha ha! Swallow, why don't you swallow some more? Seeing the Dark Emperor's current state, Hu Jian laughed maniacally and said, I thought you were really that awesome, so it's just a facade. You used some unorthodox method to raise your cultivation to the middle stage of manifestation. Now that you've revealed your fox's tail, you won't have long to live. Forget it, forget it. I don't want to see you suffer. Let me send you on your last journey. At this moment, Hu Jian seemed to be a little more humane. He waved his hand and walked towards the Dark Emperor with the blue jade sword in his hand. Hu Jian walked very slowly so that he could pressure the Dark Emperor and let him enjoy the taste of pain. Can I interrupt for a moment? Before Hu Jian reached the Dark Emperor's side, a faint voice rang in his ears. Hearing that, Hu Jian raised his brows and turned his head to look. He saw a skinny martial artist standing on the spot, not far away. The skinny martial artist released his aura. It was difficult for ordinary people to determine his true cultivation from the aura that the skinny martial artist gave off. However, Hu Jian was a martial artist at the peak of manifestation, so he still had the ability to discern. Ningyu, I'm starting to see you in a different light, Hu Jian said sinisterly. To be able to release the aura of a middle stage of manifestation with your mastery yin-yang stage cultivation, you're the most powerful genius martial artist I've ever seen. Thank you for the praise. Ningyu was expressionless as he said faintly, although you've praised me, it's a pity that I still won't change my opinion of you. Do I need you to change your opinion of me? Hu Jian seemed to have heard the funniest joke in the world as he said coldly, to tell you the truth, after today, all of you will die. You have no right to ask whether I die or not. Moreover, we don't even know who will live and who will die. Don't you think it's a little ridiculous for you to say these words now? Ningyu still had that indifferent look on his face, as though the martial artist who spoke to him was not at the peak of manifestation, but at the early stage of manifestation. Hu Jian, I admit that your cultivation is very high. It's a few times higher than mine. Let me ask you a question now, Ningyu continued. Do you dare to meet my palm? Do you dare to meet my palm? Do you dare to meet my palm? When Ningyu said this sentence, it contained a dense energy wave that dispersed in all directions. All the spectators in the area widened their eyes as they looked at Ningyu in disbelief. Their eyes seemed to be saying, Are you King kidding me? You are a late-stage yin-yang realm martial artist. It's fine if you set a 7-day agreement with a peak-stage manifestation realm martial artist, but you actually dared to openly provoke me. Do you have 9 lives like a cat, or are you tired of living? Ever since I grew up, I have seen plenty of martial artists, but in terms of acting cool, I only admire Ningyu. That's right. I also admire Ningyu's courage. What's the use of being convinced? I'm just afraid that Ningyu will infuriate Hu Jian and cause him to start a massacre in the Great Xia Kingdom. If you are afraid that Hu Jian will start a massacre in the Great Xia Kingdom, you can get lost now. Why are you blindly competing here? This time, there were a few martial artists who spoke up for Ningyu among the spectators. It was just that these martial artists who spoke up for Ningyu were quickly isolated and formed a small camp. Ningyu, I agree to your unreasonable request. Since Ningyu's words had already spread, it would be unreasonable for Hu Jian to not agree. Therefore, Hu Jian shouted coldly. Chapter 780. The spectators, next, I'll send you to heaven. When Hu Jian's slightly threatening words sounded out in this area, Hu Jian's body turned into an afterimage and vanished. The closer it was to the end, the more one could see just how great the potential of a peak creation realm martial artist was. Hu Jian had just turned into an afterimage a moment ago and appeared beside Ningyu the next instant. Furthermore, Hu Jian's palm blasted out. It carried an extremely berserk yuan qi undulation and blasted ruthlessly towards Ningyu's head. This palm of Hu Jian not only had a berserk yuan qi undulation on it, it even had a terrifying devouring power. Ningyu was not very afraid of the terrifying yuan qi undulation on Hu Jian's palm. The only thing Ningyu was wary of was the terrifying devouring power contained in Hu Jian's palm. It could be said that even the Red Fiend sword's devouring power might not be as terrifying as the one emitted from Hu Jian's palm. Ningyu, in order to kill you with one palm, I've given you enough respect. The corners of Hu Jian's mouth curled up, and he said coldly, "Very curious why I can emit such a terrifying, devouring power, right? I'll tell you honestly, this terrifying, devouring power of mine is because I'm a freak." However, just as Hu Jian's cold words were halfway through, he cursed. The reason why Hu Jian cursed was that he sensed an even more terrifying, devouring power on Ningyu's palm. The devouring power on Ningyu's palm was several times stronger than the devouring power on his palm. I forgot to tell you, you're not the only one who can emit such a terrifying, devouring power. I can too. Ningyu flipped his wrist, and similarly, a terrifying, devouring power was emitted. Since Ningyu dared to clash palms with Hu Jian, he naturally had a trump card. Flower bud. At this critical moment, the flower bud hidden in Ningyu's sleeve played a crucial role. After the flower bud bloomed its seventh petal, its devouring power increased significantly again. Not good. Sensing the devouring power on Ningyu's palm, Hu Jian's expression changed drastically. He hastily stopped and tried to retract his palm. However, Hu Jian was already very close to Ningyu. In addition, Ningyu was already prepared, so Hu Jian's palm still collided with Ningyu's palm helplessly. Pa! The two palms collided and a muffled sound rang out. Hee, swallow for me. At first, Hu Jian did not realize the seriousness of the problem. This was because after his palm and Ningyu's palm came into contact, both of them were in harmony. The devouring power on Ningyu's palm had completely disappeared. However, Hu Jian soon realized the seriousness of the problem. He realized that his palm was no longer under his control. Apart from this, the terrifying, devouring power on Ningyu's palm had increased once again, and it was getting stronger and stronger. The peak of the creation realm. The peak of the later stage of the manifestation realm. The peak of the middle stage of the blessed realm. In just 1 second, Hu Jian's aura dropped from the peak of the blessed realm to the peak of the middle stage of the blessed realm. Moreover, it continued to drop. Kacha! Hu Jian was not an indecisive person. He gritted his teeth, raised his sword, and directly cut off his right hand that was in contact with Ningyu's palm. With a crack, the bloody palm fell to the ground. As for Hu Jian, he hurriedly retreated to the other side and stared at Ningyu viciously. At this moment, Hu Jian wished he could cut Ningyu into pieces. Careless. He was really careless this time. Hu Jian was very upset. If he did not care about his pride, if he did not agree to exchange palms with Ningyu would have been killed by him. How could there be so many problems? Now, not only did his aura drop to the peak of the middle stage of the blessed realm, but he was also forced to give up his right hand. The loss this time would take at least a few months to recover. Ningyu, the mountains will not change, and the rivers will continue to flow. We will meet again. Hu Jian was not that kind of hothead. He knew himself very well. His aura dropped to the peak of the middle stage of the blessed realm, and he was forced to give up his right hand. His strength had dropped at least a few times. Under this premise, what could he use to fight with Ningyu? The only thing he could do now was to retreat first, and then think of a way to get back at him. After leaving a few words, Hu Jian's figure flashed, and he wanted to leave. Want to leave? It's not that easy. In order to kill Hu Jian, the Dark Emperor and the others had suffered a lot. If he let Hu Jian escape like this, Ningyu could commit suicide by eating feces. Swoosh! Ningyu dashed out, and in an instant he blocked in front of Hu Jian. Ningyu, always leave a way out, and we will meet again in the future. Hu Jian said coldly, I am a martial artist of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. If you kill me, the Supreme Nine Purities Temple will definitely not let you go. Also, a few days ago, I received accurate news that the Supreme Nine Purities Temple has sent Supremacy Realm martial artists to the Great Xia Kingdom. If you kill me, they will definitely destroy your bones and scatter your ashes. Whether the Supremacy Realm martial artists of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple will destroy my bones and scatter my ashes is not something you need to worry about. You should think about how you can survive. Ning Yu dashed out in an instant, and in the blink of an eye, he was in front of Hu Jian. Bang! Ning Yu's fist carried a strong wind of vitality, and it hit Hu Jian's chest without any deviation. The enormous force that came from his chest caused Hu Jian to be forcefully pushed back several feet. Ning Yu, don't think that I am afraid of you. Although I have lost a hand, I still have the strength of the middle stage of the manifestation realm. Killing you is as easy as flipping my hand. Hu Jian's chest heaved up and down, and he said coldly, "You do have the strength of the middle stage of the manifestation realm, but it will not be of any use to me," Ning Yu said faintly. "It will not be of any use." Hearing Ning Yu's words, Hu Jian's eyes turned, and he thought of a countermeasure. In the next moment, Hu Jian's figure rushed out again. But this time, the direction of Hu Jian's flight was not where Ning Yu was, but where the spectators were. Swoosh! Hu Jian's action caused a huge uproar among the spectators. Some of the stronger spectators fled to the sides. Some of the weaker spectators were even stunned on the spot. The fleeing crowd was luckier, and they successfully avoided Hu Jian's attack. The spectators who were stunned on the spot were not so lucky. They became Hu Jian's punching bags, and their bodies were hit by Hu Jian's powerful attack. Ah, my eyes! My arm! My arm is broken! My leg! You there! Don't step on my leg! My cultivation! My cultivation has dropped to the early stage of the Khanate realm. All kinds of shouts and curses resounded in the area. The culprit who caused all this, Hu Jian, floated in the air with one hand crossed in front of his chest. Ning Yu, aren't you very powerful? I want to see if you can save these people now. Hu Jian's eyes shone with a cunning light. He pointed at the spectators behind him and said sinisterly. Chapter 781. One's heart is not straight. Hu Jian's slightly threatening words caused a huge uproar among the onlookers. The martial artist who was injured under Hu Jian's powerful attack just now had a ghastly pale face without any color of blood. Despair, fear, panic, all sorts of uneasy feelings were growing. Now these onlookers began to regret coming to watch the show. If they did not watch the show, they definitely would not be threatened by Hu Jian. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. What one did, one had to be responsible to the end and could not blame others. Swish! However, the thoughts of the onlookers could not be judged with normal thinking. After a brief moment of panic, some onlookers began to point the spearhead at Ning Yu. Ning Yu, we are already like this. Do you want to watch us die helplessly? Humph! All of this was caused by you. You have to be responsible. Hurry up and let Hu Jian go. Otherwise, we will join forces and banish you out of the capital, out of the great Xia kingdom. Right. Hu Jian is a martial artist of the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. If you let him go, you will be on good terms with the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. It will be very beneficial to you. At this moment, the faces of the onlookers were revealed. There were even some onlookers who saw that Ning Yu did not speak and behaved even more exaggeratedly. They were not satisfied with making Ning Yu let Hu Jian go and already started to ask for compensation from Ning Yu. Ning Yu, not only do you have to let Hu Jian go, you have to give us the compensation that we deserve. My arm is broken. It needs at least 1 million pieces of high-grade essence crystals. How can 1 million pieces of high-grade essence crystals be enough? My leg is broken. You have to give me at least 1 million pieces of supreme-grade essence crystals. Hurry up and compensate. If you don't, I won't let you leave. Ning Yu looked at everything coldly. He wanted to see how many shameless words these onlookers could say. However, Ning Yu did not seem to be entangled with Hu Jian on the surface, but that was not the case. Ning Yu's attention was always on Hu Jian. As long as Hu Jian made the slightest movement, Ning Yu would make a move immediately and blast Hu Jian to death. It was a little irrational to make a move now. As the saying went, a starving camel was still bigger than a horse. Hu Jian's combat strength had dropped to the middle stage of the blessed realm, but his combat experience and senses were still there. If he were to act rashly and something were to happen to him, the losses would outweigh the gains. Ningyu, don't think that everything will be fine if you don't speak. We have 3 requests. First, let Hu Jian go. Second, compensate us. Third, don't ever appear in the capital again. Scram back to where you belong. If you can do these 3 things, we can consider sparing your life. Otherwise, we will let you know what cruelty is. The onlookers were getting more and more exaggerated, from 1 request at the beginning, to 2, and then to 3. Ningyu didn't dare to imagine that if he dragged it out a little longer, these onlookers would list out his 10 major crimes. In fact, Ningyu initially thought of saving these onlookers, but as the onlookers' requests increased, Ningyu finally decided to give up on them. Why should I listen to your orders? Why should I agree to your unreasonable requests? Do I owe you something, or do I owe you something? Cough, cough. He couldn't take it anymore. There was no need to take it anymore. Ningyu coughed and said faintly, "Since you have so many requests of me, it seems that I have to say something. I'll make it short. First, Hu Jian must die. Second, what does your death have to do with me?" Boom! Ningyu's words were more intimidating than Hu Jian's. Hearing Ningyu's arrogant words, the onlookers were dumbfounded. They stared at Ningyu with their mouths slightly open. Dumbfounded. "Ningyu, aren't you afraid that I'll kill all of them?" Hu Jian did not believe that Ningyu would be so ruthless. He reminded him they are all from the capital. Many of them have very terrifying forces behind them. Think about it. If I kill all of them, the forces behind them will definitely come after you. By then, you will end up in a very miserable state. Also, as long as I add fuel to the fire, you will have to bear the endless wrath. Ningyu listened to Hu Jian quietly until Hu Jian stopped talking. Then Ningyu said, "Are you done?" "Not yet, I still want to." Hu Jian obviously did not understand the meaning behind Ningyu's words and continued. "I say, why do you have so much nonsense to say?" Ningyu directly interrupted Hu Jian's words and said doubtfully, "Do you think that I'll compromise and let you go just because you're talking nonsense?" Hu Jian was speechless after being rebutted by Ningyu. "Fine. You forced me to do this." Hu Jian's eyes revealed a trace of coldness. After a low growl, Hu Jian unleashed his aura and suppressed the people behind him. "Ah, stop, I can't take it anymore." "Uft, my eyes." "Ningyu, you will suffer retribution for doing this." Being suppressed by Hu Jian's aura, the onlookers began to panic. However, it was difficult for ordinary people to understand the thoughts of the onlookers. Until now, they were still threatening Ningyu and not begging for mercy. It was really like the saying, "Heaven's evil can be forgiven, but one's own evil cannot be avoided." "Ningyu, we are willing to reduce one condition." "Yes, hurry up and ask Hu Jian to stop." "We are willing to reduce one condition." "Are you guys stupid?" A Yin-Yang realm martial artist seemed to be a little more rational. While resisting the pressure of Hu Jian's momentum, he said, "How can reducing one condition attract Ningyu?" "In my opinion, we should reduce 2 conditions." Yes. As long as Ningyu lets go of Hu Jian, we will forgive him. We don't want any compensation." Sigh. Ningyu sighed and shook his head slowly when he heard the godlike words of these onlookers. There were many shameless people in the Sky Fiend region. In the past, Ningyu had also met many shameless people. However, the people he met today had completely overturned his previous understanding. Damn it! To be shameless to this extent, they were indeed the best of the shameless, the king of the shameless, and the fighter of the shameless. Humph! Ningyu, I want to kill all of them. Hu Jian did not expect Ningyu to be so ruthless. He snorted coldly and then used the onlookers as a punching bag. The combat power of the middle stage of the Blessed Realm was completely revealed. The reason why Hu Jian tried his best to kill the onlookers was that he believed that Ningyu would show mercy and compromise. However, Hu Jian did not know that Ningyu had lived 2 lives. Ningyu could see the faces of these onlookers very clearly. Give them an inch and you want a mile. Most of the onlookers had the mentality of taking a mile when given an inch. Even if you saved them, they would still have all kinds of reasons to blackmail you and make you unable to live in peace. Instead of that, it was better to let Hu Jian attack and kill all the malicious onlookers. My friends over there, please come over. Ningyu was not the kind of person who did not care about others' feelings. He was still very kind to the onlookers who had good intentions. Chapter 782. Take away, Ningyu. Who do you think you are? You don't know what's the use of standing idly by. To tell you the truth, not only will they die today, even you will be killed by me. Hu Jian's eyes turned cold. He immediately withdrew his aura and turned to launch a powerful attack at Ningyu. Chi. Hu Jian's speed was very fast. It was extremely fast. Originally, the distance between Ningyu and Hu Jian was not too far. Coupled with Hu Jian's speed, Hu Jian arrived in front of Ningyu in just 0.01 seconds. In the next moment, Hu Jian's fist brought along a violent Yuan Qi gale as it ruthlessly smashed towards Ningyu's head. This punch of Hu Jian's was very powerful. It contained almost all the essence Qi in his body. In order to kill with a single strike, Hu Jian even did not hesitate to ignite his blood essence to increase the power of his fist. Everyone could see that there were traces of flames leaping on Hu Jian's fist. The flames and Yuan Qi burned, emitting a sizzling sound. Want to kill me? It depends on whether you have the ability or not. Ningyu is not a pushover that everyone could bully. Although the elemental Qi and flames on Hu Jian's fist were constantly jumping, Ningyu was not afraid. On the contrary, Ningyu flicked his wrist, and all the primordial Qi in his sea of consciousness rushed out and gathered on his fist. With a backhand punch, he collided with Hu Jian's fist. Whoosh! Whoosh! After one move, the 2 figures quickly retreated. Judging from the distance, both sides retreated. Both sides were evenly matched in this attack. Ningyu, I was wondering how powerful you were. It turns out that we're about the same. Hu Jian floated in midair and said sinisterly, If I want to leave, you definitely can't stop me. I can't stop you? You can give it a try. Ningyu still had that calm look on his face, as if he wasn't worried that Hu Jian would suddenly leave. Go. Hu Jian did not waste any time. He took out a scroll from his pocket and threw it at Ningyu. Not good. Looking at the scroll flying towards him, Ningyu's expression changed, and he quickly retreated. An ancient scroll. The thing that Hu Jian threw out was an ancient scroll. Moreover, from the ancient scroll that Hu Jian had thrown out, Ningyu could clearly tell that it was very powerful. It was so powerful that it was terrifying. Ningyu, even a supreme being, wouldn't dare to face this ancient scroll of mine head-on. You can die without regrets at its hands. As the cold words were spoken, Hu Jian's figure gradually turned illusory. However, the moment Hu Jian's figure disappeared, he let out a low growl. Give me. Puchi. Before Hu Jian could say the word explode, he felt a huge force coming from his back. He was forcefully kicked out of the air. Who is it? Hu Jian spat out a large mouthful of blood. His face was filled with viciousness as he stared at the air in front of him. He growled, Come out if you have the ability. Don't sneak around. As you wish. Hearing Hu Jian's request, a figure wrapped in a black robe appeared in the air. Hiss! The moment this black-robed cultivator appeared, all the cultivators in the area sucked in a breath of cold air. The peak of the manifestation realm. The black-robed cultivator's cultivation was the same as Hu Jian at his peak. They were both at the peak of the manifestation realm. It's you." Hu Jian wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and said coldly, "I should have killed you back in Dongwu College." The black-robed cultivator was none other than the peak of the manifestation realm expert from Dongwu College 7 days ago. He was the senior that Mu Feng had mentioned. After helping Dongwu College complete the 3 tasks, the black-robed cultivator left Dongwu College. It was unknown why the black-robed cultivator would appear here. "Come here." The black-robed cultivator's peak of the manifestation realm aura locked onto Hu Jian. Then he said to Ningyu, "Ningyu did not sense any killing intent from the black-robed cultivator. Therefore, Ningyu's figure flashed and arrived beside the black-robed cultivator. Actually, even if the black-robed cultivator wanted to kill, Ningyu would not be afraid. As Hu Jian did not say the word explode, Ningyu put away Hu Jian's ancient scroll and sealed it perfectly. As long as the black-robed cultivator wanted to kill, Ningyu did not mind letting him have a taste of the ancient scroll. "Is your father called Ninghai?" The black-robed cultivator stared into Ningyu's eyes and asked in a deep voice. Swish! Ningyu's heart skipped a beat. How did he know my father's name? Could it be related to my father? A series of questions appeared in Ningyu's mind, making Ningyu's thoughts a little chaotic. After a brief moment of confusion, Ningyu answered honestly, "My father's name is indeed Ninghai. I wonder if you can call me Wuxia." The old man took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Give me the semicircular pendant." Wuxia! Hearing this, Ningyu's eyes widened. So, the old man in front of him was Wuxia. "I know you have a lot of questions, but I can only tell you one thing. In a few days, people from the Supreme 9 Purities temple will come. If they find out that the pendant is with you, you will die without a burial place, even if you have 9 lives." The black-robed cultivator said in a deep voice. Ningyu's face was gloomy as he pondered whether the black-robed cultivator's words could be trusted. After a while, Ningyu flicked his sleeve and the blue pendant flew towards the black-robed cultivator. "Pa!" The black-robed cultivator caught the pendant firmly and said to Ningyu, "I will take Hu Jian with me. He still has some use for me." Buzz! The black-robed old man grabbed Hu Jian and instantly melted into the void, disappearing without a trace. "Senior, where is my father?" Seeing the black-robed cultivator disappear, Ningyu hurriedly sent a soul message. "Magic Beast Mountain Range." The black-robed cultivator left this sentence and disappeared. Magic Beast Mountain Range. It seems that father did not leave the Magic Beast Mountain Range. It was only a long time after the black-robed cultivator disappeared that Ningyu came to his senses. Although Ningyu knew that his father was in the Magic Beast Mountain Range, it was not the time to go there. Mu Feng, the Dark Emperor, and the others were still seriously injured. The most important thing now was to let them recover to their peak state. Many things had happened in the past 7 days. Ningyu was not a fool. He was very clear that in the next period of time, the Great Xia Kingdom's capital would become a key place for the various forces to compete. The Corpse Yin sect lost a branch leader, and the headquarters would definitely not let it go. The Blood God Palace lost a few manifestation realm martial artists, and they would not let it go. As for the Supreme 9 Purities Temple, they would definitely send people to the Great Xia Kingdom. Moreover, Ningyu could faintly feel that the target of these forces was most likely him. Under this premise, a cultivation of the late Yin-Yang realm was no longer enough. He must raise his cultivation to the peak of the Yin-Yang realm or the manifestation realm. Only then would he be able to successfully survive the upcoming crisis. Everyone rest for a few minutes, and then we will all return to Dongwu College. Ningyu looked at Mu Feng and the others and said in a clear voice. However, as soon as Ningyu's voice fell, a discordant voice rang in his ears. Chapter 783. The mysterious organization, Hearing the discordant words, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and turned around. It's all thanks to you that we are where we are today. If you don't want to admit it, I will expose your shameful deeds to the public and let everyone in the Xia Kingdom see what kind of person you are. Not far away from Ningyu, a middle-aged man in the early stage of Yin-Yang realm berated Ningyu with a face full of anger. It's not too late for you to make up for it. Hand over all your treasures and elixirs. Otherwise, you will become a street rat and be cursed by everyone. You're saying that I will become a street rat. Ningyu pointed at his nose and said, That's right. Don't think that you can do whatever you want just because you're strong. The middle-aged man in the early stage of Yin-Yang realm was getting more and more arrogant. I really want to know what gave you the courage to put this sh*T on my head. Ningyu said faintly, You should know that it's all your fault that you were attacked by Hu Jian today. Then Ningyu pointed at the group of people next to him and continued, They are the same as you. They are all here to watch the show. Why weren't they attacked by Hu Jian, but you were attacked by him? There's a saying that goes, The more you dance, the more miserable your death will be. Actually, Hu Jian's attack was still very powerful. Among the onlookers, apart from those who were neutral, there were only about 10 or so martial artists who were cheering the loudest. Among the remaining martial artists, the middle-aged man had the highest cultivation and suffered the lightest injuries. I'm upholding justice. The middle-aged man spoke righteously. Those who didn't know better might have thought that Ningyu was the one who injured them. I'd like to see how you're going to uphold justice, Ningyu said with interest. You won't dare to kill us because I've already informed my family about your evil deeds through a secret technique. As long as you dare to kill us, you'll become the enemy of the entire capital. The middle-aged man seemed to be fearless as he laughed sinisterly. Hurry up and compensate us, or else we'll reveal everything about you. If you dare to play any tricks, we will go to Tianjin City and kill everyone in your clan. That's right, Ningyu comes from that remote corner of profound Sky City. We only need to send out 2 Yuan dance stage practitioners to dominate that place. My ass decides my head. At first, Ningyu's tone was very good. However, as these people continued to cause trouble without reason, Ningyu's expression became completely gloomy. Some people's thoughts were really strange. In their world, others should take them as the center. It was as if everyone owed them since they were born, and they should always give in to them. Unfortunately, Ningyu did not fall for their tricks. Can I take your words as a provocation and a threat? Ningyu said calmly, If you really want to think that way, we have no objections. The middle-aged man shrugged and said, I'll give you one last chance. Tell me what you should do. Mother ***, shameless to the extreme. Before Ningyu could speak, the Dark Emperor on the other side shouted, This kind of person should be chopped into 8 pieces. If the Dark Emperor had not suffered heavy injuries, he would definitely be the first to kill the middle-aged man. Tear them apart. The silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast shouted in unison. At the side, although Mu Feng, old ancestor Jiumo, and the rest did not speak, it could be seen from their expressions that they still supported the Dark Emperor and the twin-horned beast. Just what I wanted. Ningyu had long found the middle-aged man an eyesore. For a person to be shameless to this extent, he could be considered a weirdo among weirdos. Swish! Ningyu stomped his feet on the ground, and his body rushed out like a bolt of lightning. You can't puff. Seeing that Ningyu did not play his cards according to common sense, the middle-aged man's expression changed greatly, and his face was filled with fear. At this time, the middle-aged man finally realized that it was clearly too late. Ningyu's fist landed on his body, directly blasting him several feet away, and his body crashed into a huge tree. Crack! The huge tree that was as thick as a person's waist was smashed into 2. The middle-aged man also spat out a large mouthful of blood, and his aura instantly dropped to the freezing point. Bang, 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 against such unreasonable people, Ningyu would not hold back. After sending the middle-aged man flying with one move, Ningyu threw out another 9 punches, each one landing on a martial artist. From the moment Ningyu attacked until the moment he stopped, only a few seconds had passed. In just a few seconds, including the middle-aged man, all the bystanders with ulterior motives had been severely injured. Leave this matter to me. But just as Ningyu was about to attack and kill them, among the bystanders, an early primal core stage young man said in a low voice, "If you kill them, it will affect your reputation." Hearing the young man's words, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and asked, "What's your name?" "I am just a very ordinary person. You do not need to know my name," the young man said lightly. "Haha, thank you for your kind intentions, but I actually do not care about my reputation." Ningyu smiled slightly, then formed a seal with his hands and sent out 10 consecutive palm strikes. Bang! A series of muffled sounds rang out. Without question, Ningyu's attacks were very heavy-handed. These bystanders with ulterior motives, without exception, were all killed by Ningyu. Seeing that Ningyu had attacked and killed these bystanders, the young man did not say anything else and directly tore the void apart and disappeared. "Something's wrong." As soon as the young man disappeared, Ningyu realized that something was wrong. Logically speaking, the young man's level of cultivation was only at the early primal core stage. So how could he have torn the void apart? For a peak primal core warrior to be able to tear the void apart was not surprising to Ningyu. But for an early primal core warrior to be able to tear the void apart was a little exaggerated. "Who is he?" Ningyu frowned slightly. "Forget it. We'll cross the bridge when we get there. Anyway, he has no ill intentions towards me." Ningyu shook his head slowly and said to Mufeng and the rest, "Everyone recuperate as soon as possible. We will return to Danmu College in an hour." Hearing Ningyu's words, Mufeng and the rest sat down cross-legged, took out the yuan crystals they had brought with them, and began to recuperate. They were seriously injured, and although an hour was not enough for them to recover to their peak, it was enough for them to recover by 10 to 20%. Buzz, buzz! What Ningyu and the rest did not know was that in the void not too far away from them, 3 warriors were having a conversation. 3 warriors, 2 men and 1 woman. One of the warriors was the young man who had just left. "Ningyu is very strong. In my opinion, we can absorb him into our organization," the young man said in a low voice as he described Ningyu's performance. "I disagree," the female warrior objected. "Ningyu's murderous intent is too strong. I'm afraid that if we absorb him into our organization, there will be unstable factors." "What's there to be afraid of? Do you think he can overturn the heavens?" Another male warrior said lightly, "Ningyu's strength has at most reached the requirements to join the organization. He won't be able to cause too much trouble." The last male warrior seemed to be the leader of this small group, and his words had a great effect. "All right, in that case, I will contact him again and absorb him into the organization." Chapter 784. Breaking into the Imperial Palace Wish. Time flew. An hour passed in the blink of an eye. In the blink of an eye, an hour had passed. Mufeng and the others were far from recovering to their peak state. Although they had an hour to recover, Mufeng and the others had not recovered to their peak state. Even the Dark Emperor and Fur Ball, who had the best recovery ability, had only recovered 30% to 40%. Even so, everyone still chose to return to the capital and Danmu College. Many things had happened in the past few days. Everyone knew that the enemy they would face in the next period of time would be very powerful. Moreover, it was much faster to return to Danmu College to recuperate than to stay here. After the battle, Danmu College was filled with a heavy atmosphere. The lively atmosphere that a college should have was completely absent. Many students were worried. All of this was seen by Mu Feng, who had just returned to Dongwu College. However, Mu Feng could not raise everyone's morale in a short period of time. After such a big event, he had to give everyone some time to digest. After all, most of the students of Dongwu College had not experienced the fighting in society. It was normal for them to be a little flustered when they encountered such a thing. Dean Mu, is there any other place in Dongwu College for everyone to recuperate other than here? In order not to attract the attention of many students, Ningyu and the others went straight to the forbidden area as soon as they returned to Dongwu College. Among them, Ningyu sensed the density of the Yuan Qi in the forbidden area and said in a deep voice, "We can't go to the pill cave in a short period of time, and there is no way for everyone to recover to their peak state in a short period of time." Mu Feng shook his head and said, "No, the best place in Dongwu College is the pill cave. Apart from the pill cave, this place has the densest Yuan Qi." Hearing Mu Feng's words, Ningyu frowned and fell into deep thought. Blood God Palace, Corpse Sect, Supreme Nine Purities Temple. These three sects would definitely send people to the capital in the next period of time. At that time, the capital would become the center of a whirlpool. Before that, Ningyu had one more important thing to do. That was to make a trip to the headquarters of the Corpse Yin sect in the Great Xia country. In the headquarters of the Corpse sect in the Great Xia country, there was a huge skeleton. All the signs indicated that this huge skeleton was the heaven-devouring dog when it was alive. The skeleton of the heaven-devouring hound was the knot in the Dark Emperor's heart. Ever since Ningyu met the Dark Emperor had wanted to go to the Corpse Yin sect's headquarters to bring back the skeleton. Although there were many things to do, Ningyu couldn't go back on his word, so he took this opportunity to go to the Corpse sect's headquarters. As for other matters, they could be put aside for the time being. There was no rush. "Ningyu, there is a place in the Imperial Palace that has a higher concentration of essence energy. If you trust me, you can let everyone go there to cultivate. However," Ouyang Luin said while Ningyu was deep in thought. Ouyang Luin didn't continue to speak. Instead, he stared at Ningyu with an uneasy look on his face. "Speak," Ningyu said in a deep voice. "Only I can open that place, but even I have to spend a lot of energy to do so." Ouyang Luin hesitated and said, "What I mean is, can you temporarily make a heavenly oath to remove your restriction on me?" Ningyu raised his eyebrows and stared at Ouyang Luin's eyes. Being stared at by Ningyu, Ouyang Luin was a little scared. Even his forehead was covered with beads of sweat. "Let's go take a look first." Ningyu was not that kind of fledgling. Unless he was sure that what Ouyang Luin said was true, he would definitely not remove his restriction on Ouyang Luin. Ouyang Luin was the ancestor of the Imperial Palace, so he must be very cunning. If he was not careful, he would fall into his trap. "All right." Ouyang Luin nodded helplessly. His figure flashed, and he left the forbidden area of Dongwu College. As for Ningyu and the others, they followed Ouyang Luin and disappeared in an instant. Buzz! Not long after, they appeared in front of a hall in the depths of the Imperial Palace. Creak! Ouyang Luin was the first to push open the door of the hall and walked in. As soon as he stepped into the hall, Ningyu felt a strong wave of Yuan Qi hitting him in the face. The density of the Yuan Qi in the hall is indeed comparable to the forbidden area of Dongwu College. However, it is still lacking compared to the pill cavern. Ningyu murmured as he felt the strong Yuan Qi hitting him in the face. "Ningyu, the place I'm talking about is behind that door." At this moment, Ouyang Luin pointed at a bronze door at the corner of the hall and said, "I need to put all my energy into that door in order to open it. Otherwise, even a Supreme Being Realm Martial Artist can forget about opening it. Even a Supremacy Realm Martial Artist will not be able to open it?" Ningyu's mind moved. He quickly separated a wisp of his soul force and attached it to the bronze door. After a while, Ningyu retracted his soul force and walked straight towards the bronze door. "I don't believe you can open the stone door," Ouyang Luin thought to himself when he saw Ningyu's action. To be honest, the reason why Mu Tian refused to leave the imperial palace and insisted on seeing Ouyang Luin was because he wanted Ouyang Luin to open the bronze door. In the past, a supremacy realm martial artist had come to the Great Xia Kingdom. At that time, he was only a second-grade human supreme martial artist. However, even a second-grade human supreme martial artist could not open the bronze door. Humph. If you can open the bronze door, I will turn my head. What? Ouyang Luin snorted and thought to himself. However, before Ouyang Luin could turn his head, his mouth opened slightly and his eyes locked onto Ningyu and the bronze door. Creak! Ningyu's hands were placed on the bronze door, and he exerted a little force. The closed bronze door was slowly pushed open. Obviously, Ouyang Luin did not expect this. How did Ningyu open the stone door? How did Ningyu, who was only at the advanced Yin-Yang realm, do it? A series of questions appeared in Ouyang Luin's mind. However, these questions would probably rot in Ouyang Luin's mind, as Ningyu had no intention of telling him. Let's go. After opening the bronze door, Ningyu waved his hand and was the first to pass through the door. Ouyang Luin stomped his feet on the ground and was the second to pass through the door. Mu Feng and the rest followed closely behind. In just a second, the crowd had disappeared, causing the hall to return to its usual calm state. Crack! Not long after Ningyu and the rest passed through the door of a luxurious palace in the imperial palace was shattered into two by a young man. Who dares to trespass the imperial palace? Are you tired of living? A middle-aged man sat on the main seat of the hall. The middle-aged man was none other than the emperor of the Great Xia Kingdom, who had just recovered to his peak condition, Ouyang Ba. Below Ouyang Ba, there were 3 to 4 old men, whose cultivations were all at the half-step manifestation realm. Ouyang Ba was infuriated, especially after he had determined the young man's true cultivation. Mu Tian was so arrogant that he had beaten him until he wet his pants. That was only because he was capable and powerful. Chapter 785. Chapter 785 Inch Air. The young man hesitated for a moment after hearing Ouyang Ba's cold words, before he said, "Let me correct you. It's true that I've trespassed into the royal palace, but it's not like I'm tired of living. On the contrary, I want to live for a long time." You want to live for a long time? Then tell me, why did you trespass into the royal palace? Although Ouyang Ba seemed to be looking down on the young man, he was extremely cautious in his heart. Besides, although Ouyang Ba could tell that the young man's cultivation base was only at the early primal core realm, Ouyang Ba had a feeling that the young man was not as simple as he seemed. As for why he was not simple, Ouyang Ba could not tell. Under such circumstances, it was never wrong to be cautious. After all, due to the incident with Mu Tian, Ouyang Ba was cautious in everything he did, as if everyone was pretending to be weak. "I've only come to the royal palace for one thing, which is to meet Ningyu," the young man said calmly. "Meet Ningyu?" Ouyang Ba was slightly startled before he said in a cold tone, "Ningyu is not in the royal palace. You can leave now. Otherwise, I'll show you what cruelty is." Hee. It's not up to you whether Ningyu is in the royal palace or not. It was obvious that the young man did not take Ouyang Ba seriously, as he said with a smile, "I'm here because my organization has a request. I have to remind you. Now that I've told you, it's none of my business whether you listen to me or not. I know where Ningyu is, so I don't need you to lead the way. I can go there myself." After saying this, the young man's figure became more and more illusionary, until his entire body merged with the void. "Damn it. Go. Take this arrogant kid down." The young man's words completely infuriated Ouyang Ba. "If you're a manifestation realm martial artist, I might be able to tolerate your words, but you're only an early primal core martial artist. What right do you have to say such words? I can't tolerate it anymore. There's no need to." Besides, Ouyang Ba had to step in to protect the dignity of the royal palace. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. Including Oyangba, there were a total of 5 half-step manifestation realm martial artists in the hall. Without exception, these 5 half-step manifestation stage martial artists attacked in unison. Each of them threw a punch and forcefully blasted the young man out of the air. However, no matter how he looked at it, the young man didn't seem to have been pushed out. Instead, he seemed to have come out on his own accord, refusing a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. The young man was thoroughly enraged. His eyes turned cold, and his aura completely erupted. Half-step to the blessed realm. The young man's cultivation was also at the half-step manifestation realm. Furthermore, the richness of the young man's yuan qi was much stronger than Oyangba and the others who were half a step to the manifestation realm. It could even be compared to a peak early-stage manifestation realm martial artist. Bang, 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 bang. The moment an expert made a move, it would be clear whether or not he was a real expert. The young man threw out 5 punches with ease, but the result was obvious. Oyangba and the others were all struck by the punches, causing them to be knocked back a few feet. Following this, Oyangba and the others spat out mouthfuls of blood, as their auras at their peak instantly dropped to freezing point. Humph! I've given you face, but you don't want it. If it wasn't for the fact that Ningyu is related to the royal family, I would have sent you all to hell long ago. The young man glanced at Oyangba and the others and uttered these cold words. He then tore the space apart and disappeared. A long time after the young man had disappeared, Oyangba and the others finally let out a long sigh of relief, as if a heavy burden had been lifted from their shoulders. Damn it, we've King kicked and iron played again. First, there was Mu Tian, who beat the crap out of them. Now, there was this mysterious young man whose strength was a level higher than Mu Tian's. Who did I offend? This sentence was the true reflection of Oyangba's current thoughts. Buzz, buzz! After the young man disappeared, he did not wander around the royal family. Instead, he went straight to the entrance of the hall where Ningyu and the others were at. Creak! The young man pushed open the door of the hall with ease. Suck! The yuan qi is so thin. No wonder the Xia kingdom hasn't had a genius martial artist for a long time. The young man took a deep breath and shook his head. Being able to cultivate to such a level with such thin yuan qi, I have to say that Ningyu is indeed outstanding. Forget it. I'll look for Ningyu first and ask him to join the organization. The young man slowly exhaled and stood in front of the bronze door. Open it. The young man did not waste any time. He placed his hands on the bronze door and pushed it with all his might. However, no matter how hard the young man tried, the bronze door did not budge at all, showing no sign of being pushed open. I didn't expect a stone door to be able to stop me in a place like the Xia kingdom, where even birds don't shit. The young man withdrew his hands and secretly unleashed his soul force to probe the stone door. Whoosh! If anyone were here, they would discover that the strength of the young man's soul force had reached the terrifying late-stage 6th grade, half-step manifestation realm cultivation base, and the strength of a late-stage 6th grade soul force. At this age, with such strength, even in the Xia kingdom, he could be ranked top 3. Even Ningyu's cultivation base was slightly lower than his. There's something strange. The stone door is strange. The more the young man examined, the more he frowned. In that organization, the young man was known to be able to open any sealed stone door. Although it was a little exaggerated, it was enough to prove the young man's ability to open the stone door. But such a heaven-defying person was stumped by a bronze door in the Xia kingdom. Let's try brute force. The young man took a deep breath, and the yuan qi on his wrist pulsed. He threw a punch at the stone door. Bang! A crisp sound was heard. The bronze door only shook for a short while before returning to normal. How can I open the stone door? After failing to open the stone door twice, the young man fell into deep thought. The young man was determined to waste time with the bronze door. He wanted to see how long it would take to break it open. Oh no, someone is attacking the bronze door. What the young man did not know was that when he punched the bronze door, although it only shook for a short while, it caused a huge commotion in the space on the other side of the bronze door. Especially Ouyang-Luan, his face was full of anger. What is going on? Feeling the space shaking, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "This is the Imperial Palace. There shouldn't be anyone who would dare to attack the bronze door, right?" "I don't know either." At the mention of this, Ouyang-Luan was even more furious. He said, "I have already given the order. Apart from me, no one is allowed to enter this hall. In that case, I will go out and have a look." Ningyu thought for a while and decided to go out and have a look. After all, the vitality in this place was extremely rich. The Dark Emperor and the others would only need a few hours to recover to their peak condition. Chapter 786. Making a decision. I will go with you. After all, this is the Imperial Palace. Someone has trespassed. I have to step in. Ouyang-Luan thought about it and decided to go with Ningyu. This was the Imperial Palace. If he let Ningyu deal with this, Ouyang-Luan would lose his authority in the Imperial Palace. "Since you want to go, I will not stop you," Ningyu said. You did not care whether Ouyang-Luan went out or not. He was going to go out anyway. Boom! At this moment, the space shook again. This time, the shaking was much more violent than before. Based on the frequency and intensity of the shaking, not only would the bronze door be blown open, but the space where Ningyu and the others would also be destroyed. Whoosh! At this critical moment, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he flew straight towards the bronze door. Ouyang-Luan followed, closely behind Ningyu. "Give me no." Outside the bronze door, the young man's right hand was surrounded by a violent gust of yuan qi as he punched the door. However, before the young man's fist came into contact with the bronze door, his expression changed, and he quickly retreated. Creak! Swoosh! Swoosh! Fortunately, the young man retreated quickly. Otherwise, the two beams of cold light that shot out from the bronze door would have been enough to kill him. "Why did you attack the bronze door? It was you." Ouyang-Luan appeared in the main hall, his face extremely gloomy as he stared at the young man and scolded him. As a mid-creation stage warrior, Ouyang-Luan had an amazing memory. He recognized the young man's identity the moment he saw him. The young man was none other than the early primal core warrior who had wanted to kill the onlookers on behalf of Ningyu not long ago. "Haha, Ningyu, how have you been?" The young man did not even look at Ouyang-Luan as he said to Ningyu, "Let me introduce myself. I am Xinyong." "Xinyong?" Ningyu frowned and said, "I don't know you. I advise you to answer Ouyang-Luan's question first. Why did you attack the bronze door? You're advising me to answer this trash first? Ha ha ha." Xinyong felt as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He faced the sky and laughed wildly. Soon after, he said coldly, "A piece of trash will always be a piece of trash. In front of me, he doesn't have the qualifications to make me answer a question. Also," at this point, the corners of Xinyong's mouth curled up into an arc, and he stared at Ningyu and said, "You don't have the qualifications either." "Hee hee. There is no need for you to tell me if I am qualified or not. I will ask you one last time. Why did you attack the bronze doors?" Ningyu asked with a faint smile. After all, Xinyong had once spoken up for Ningyu, so Ningyu had a pretty good impression of him. However, after hearing Xinyong's arrogant words, Ningyu's opinion of him completely changed. "Don't laugh in front of me. If boss didn't want you to join the organization, I would have let you know why flowers are so red." Xinyong said darkly, "I'll give you one last ultimatum. Tell me how to open this bronze door, or I have the right to prevent you from joining the organization." "Are you sure you are talking to me?" Ningyu shrugged and said indifferently, "I don't know what organization you are talking about, and I don't want to join. Let me return your words to you. I'll give you one last ultimatum. If you don't tell me why you attacked the bronze door, I will let you know why flowers are so red. Oh, it seems that if I don't teach you a lesson, you won't know how powerful I am. Shin Yong made a strange expression, then rose from the ground and rushed directly at Ningyu. Ningyu stood still and did not fight back, because Ningyu knew that Ouyang Luin would not sit idly by. This was the imperial family, and Ouyang Luin wanted to get back at him. How dare you behave atrociously in the imperial family? You are looking down on me. Sure enough, as soon as Shin Yong made his move, Ouyang Luin shouted and rushed out like a ferocious tiger. Bang! However, Ouyang Luin, who had recovered 50% of his strength, was no match for Shin Yong. One move. Ouyang Luin was defeated in just one move. Ningyu was finally moved. Ouyang Luin, who had recovered 50% of his strength, was comparable to an ordinary martial artist in the early stage of Fate Realm, and was even slightly stronger. Shin Yong could defeat Ouyang Luin in this state with one move, which meant that he did have some skills. However, Ningyu was only moved. If Shin Yong only had this little ability, he would not be able to compete with him. After defeating Ouyang Luin in one move, Shin Yong turned his right fist into a palm and punched at Ningyu's head. Shin Yong's move was very powerful, and it was even more powerful than the attack he had used to defeat Ouyang Luin. Ningyu, if you can block this palm of mine, I will admit that you have some skills, Shin Yong said coldly. Noisy. Ningyu's eyes turned cold. His palm contained violent primordial chi, and he shouted in a low voice, Reincarnation palm! As Ningyu pushed out his palm, a palm print separated from his palm. Crack! However, the palm print that separated from Ningyu's palm was not very powerful, and was easily shattered by Shin Yong. I will let you see what real strength is. Shin Yong suddenly pushed out his palm, and it collided with Ningyu's palm. Chi wave palm! Bang! The two palms collided, and a muffled sound rang out. Then the two figures retreated backward. Judging from the distance, Ningyu and Shin Yong retreated. It could be seen that their strength was almost equal. Having failed to defeat Ningyu with a single palm strike, Shin Yong's complexion was unsightly to the extreme. Just now he was still bragging nonstop. Now that he couldn't defeat Ningyu, it was really shameful. Shin Yong could not accept such a disgrace, and he had to get back at him. Take another move, Blood Cloud Palm. Shin Yong's feet stepped on the ground, and his body instantly rushed out. At this moment, Shin Yong's right hand turned blood red, and it contained extremely violent and terrifying primordial chi. This terrifying primordial chi was a little special, and it was not white but red. Blood Cloud Palm. Looking at the palm that was inches away from him, Ningyu took a deep breath, and all the primordial chi in his body swept out, gathered on his wrist, and pushed out. Life and Death Palm. The same blood-red palm collided with Shin Yong's palm under his slightly shocked eyes. Rumble. The impact of the collision between Ningyu and Shin Yong was huge. With the collision as the center, cracks even appeared in the surrounding space. Swoosh! Swoosh! The two figures retreated to the edge of the hall, and then stabilized themselves. Uft! Shin Yong could not resist the sweet taste in his throat, and he spat out a big mouthful of blood and panted heavily. Gulp! As for Ningyu, he forcefully swallowed the sweet taste in his throat. Crack! Shin Yong's eyes were locked on Ningyu, and his fists were clenched so tightly that they made cracking sounds. His face was full of viciousness. Chapter 787. Chapter 787. 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. Pardon me for asking, but what is the name of the organization you are in? Hearing that Shin Yong wanted to kill him, Ningyu hesitated for a moment before saying, If you want to kill me, you should at least let me know why I'm dying. You want to die knowing? No problem. Shin Yong's aura locked onto Ningyu, and he said, Listen up, the organization I am in is called the God-Killing Union. Every member of the God-Killing Union is a peerless genius in the Great Xia Empire. God-Killing Union? Ningyu frowned and tried to recall. After a long time, Ningyu shook his head and said, "I've never heard of it." Ningyu had reincarnated 20 years later. It seemed that the God-Killing Union was an organization that had developed in these 20 years. Or it could be said that the God-Killing Union was an unknown organization 20 years ago. For Ningyu, who was a Sky Supreme in his previous life, he definitely wouldn't pay attention to a small organization. It's not surprising that you haven't heard of it. The God-Killing Union has another name. Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, Shinyong said. Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion? Never heard of it either. Ningyu said lightly. You. Shinyong clenched his fists, shaking with anger. Not hearing of the God-Killing Union was understandable, but not hearing of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion? Wasn't this nonsense? What? Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion? Ningyu had never heard of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, but Ouyang Luin had. A trace of fear grew in his heart. In the Black Moon continent, any martial artist with a bit of background would have heard of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. The Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion was said to have been founded by 9 extreme geniuses. There were 9 branches, and each branch controlled one or several countries. Any genius martial artist that they fancied would basically join the organization. If anyone dared to resist, the consequences would be unimaginable. Humph! At least you have some knowledge. Ouyang Luin, having heard of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, was within Shenyang's expectations. Ningyu, in my opinion, it's better to turn a big problem into a small one and a small one into nothing. Ouyang Luin quietly arrived at Ningyu's side. He said in a low voice, "The Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion is extremely powerful. There are countless countries in the entire Heavenly Demon region that are under their control. You want to resolve this small matter?" Shinyang's ears were very sharp. He raised his eyebrows and said coldly, "It's not impossible. Kneel down and count out to me a few times, then open your minds and let me leave something in your sea of consciousness." "What do you want to leave in my sea of wisdom?" You did not immediately reject Shinyong. Instead, he asked calmly, "Haha, of course it's something to control you." Towards wild and arrogant martial artists, the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion naturally has a way to subdue them. Shinyong sinisterly smiled. "Shinyong, can you bend the rules a little? We are willing to join the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion, but you don't need to leave something in our sea of consciousness, right?" Ouyang Luin clearly knew what Shinyong wanted to do. He began to haggle. "I'm already very accommodating towards you," Shinyong shouted. "If it were anyone else, I would have already sent them to see the King of Hell. How could I possibly waste my breath here?" Shinyong's ruthless words caused Ouyang Luin's complexion to turn pale. The reason why Ouyang Luin chose to compromise was because he knew just how powerful the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion was. Any martial artist that did not listen to them would inexplicably disappear. It was just that even a clay figurine had 3 points of anger, let alone the Great Xia Empire's old ancestor, Ouyang Luin. "Oh, you don't seem to be convinced?" Shinyong's lips curved up in a smile. He stared at Ouyang Luin with great interest and said, "How about this? I'll give you a chance. As long as you can take one of my moves, I won't control you. But you will still have to join the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion and become one of my subordinates." Ouyang Luin's eyes shifted to Ningyu. He wanted to see what Ningyu planned to do. The truth was that in Ouyang Luin's heart he was more inclined to agree to Shinyong's terms. After all, the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion was just too big. It was so big that he did not dare to have the slightest thought of resisting. "I want to ask you something. In this world, does the strong rule?" Ningyu hesitated for a moment and looked at Shinyong. "Of course it is the strong rule," Shinyong said in a low voice. "Beneath the strong all are ants." "Then why are you still talking nonsense?" Ningyu's expression suddenly turned cold. His entire body's aura suddenly erupted, pressing down on Shinyong. Bang! Although Ningyu's cultivation was only at the late Yin-Yang realm, his aura wasn't weak at all. It had reached the middle stage of the good fortune realm. Shenyang's complexion changed as he was suppressed by the middle stage good fortune realm's aura. He hurriedly released all the essence qi in his body, forming an essence qi barrier around his body. Ka-ka! However, Shenyang's essence qi barrier didn't have the slightest bit of effect. Soon, the essence qi barrier around Shenyang's body was smashed apart. A massive aura instantly pressed down. Block for me. Shenyang gritted his teeth as he looked at the aura pressing down on him. His late-stage, 6th grade soul force was instantly released. Chi-chi. This time, Shenyang's late-stage, 6th grade soul force played a key role. It forcefully blocked Ningyu's aura pressing down on him. You're courting death. After blocking Ningyu's aura pressing down on him, Shenyang stomped his feet on the ground and his body suddenly shot forward. Shenyang was like a cheetah, appearing beside Ningyu in the blink of an eye. Ironback fist. As Shenyang shouted, his right hand quickly punched out, landing a punch on Ningyu's chest. Ha ha ha, I thought you were powerful. Turns out, it's just an afterimage. Seeing his fist land on Ningyu's chest, Shenyang couldn't help but laugh maniacally. However, Shenyang's laughter soon came to an abrupt stop. This was because Shenyang discovered that Ningyu's body had turned into nothingness and appeared on the other side. Shenyang, you're actually not weak. Ordinary peak, early manifestation, realm martial artists are not your match. Ningyu stood beside Shenyang and indifferently said, It's a pity that you ran into me. You're destined to not have a good ending. Swish. After saying this, Ningyu didn't continue talking nonsense. His figure flashed, and under Shenyang's horrified gaze, Ningyu's fist landed on Shenyang's chest. Bang! Kacha! 2 consecutive crisp sounds rang out. Shenyang was sent flying several feet back. His body slammed into the wall with a cracking sound. Ribs. Several broken ribs. You can't kill him. Seeing Ningyu's killing intent, Ouyang Luan hurriedly said, The 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion is very powerful. If they find out that someone from their organization has died in the Great Xiao Empire, in the imperial family, the consequences will be unimaginable. Ha ha ha, kill me. If you have the ability, then kill me. As long as you kill me, the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion will raise the Great Xia Empire's imperial family to the ground. Shenyang howled with laughter as he faced the sky. He wasn't the least bit worried about his own safety. Those who threaten me usually don't have a good ending. Chapter 788. Shin foamed towards his enemies. Ningyu never showed mercy. No matter how strong your background was, he would just kill you. Moreover, even if he didn't kill you, letting you escape would only bring about endless troubles in the future. Just think about it. If he let Shenyang go now, and Shenyang called over several more powerhouses from the 9 Furnace Divine Pavilion, the consequences would be unimaginable. Thus, Ningyu decided that it was best to kill Shenyang as soon as possible, lest anything unforeseen happen. Ningyu, you cannot kill me. Seeing Ningyu's killing intent, Shenyang was finally afraid. In the past, it was always Shenyang who threatened the lives of others. Who would have thought that today he would kick an iron plate and his life would be threatened by someone else? Looking at the situation, it seemed that Ningyu didn't want to let him go. At this time, Shenyang was filled with regret. But there was no medicine for regret in this world. If he had known things would turn out like this, why did he do it in the first place? I have to say, you really talk a lot of nonsense. Once Ningyu decided on something, no one could change it. If he said he would kill Shenyang, he would definitely kill him. Friend, when you do things, don't go too far. But just as Ningyu's fist was about to strike Shenyang, A light voice suddenly resounded in the area. Hearing this familiar voice, Shin Yong was overjoyed. He hurriedly said, "Big brother, save me." "Ha!" Before Shin Yong came to the royal family, didn't you tell him to go too far? Don't you feel a little embarrassed saying such words to me? Ning Yu faintly smiled. He increased his speed once more, wanting to kill Shin Yong in one move. Humph! Refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. Seeing Ning Yu not knowing what was good for him, a cold snort sounded out from the void. Immediately, two martial artists tore through the void and appeared. One martial artist launched a powerful attack at Ning Yu. As for the other martial artist, his target was Yanglin. Life and death palm. Sensing the figure dashing toward him, Ning Yu made a hand seal with his left hand and instantly fanned out a huge palm print. The palm print was blood red, blocking Shin Yong's big brother. Bang! Ning Yu's right hand made intimate contact with Shin Yong's body. However, because Ning Yu was distracted, Shin Yong seized the opportunity to dodge to the side, causing Ning Yu's fist to miss his heart. Instead, it deviated slightly. Otherwise, just this one punch from Ning Yu would be enough to blast Shin Yong into pieces. Even so, Shin Yong still suffered heavy injuries and was on the verge of death. Moreover, when Ning Yu's fist came into contact with Shin Yong, a wisp of soul force quietly entered Shin Yong's body and went dormant. Kaka! When Shin Yong was heavily injured by Ning Yu, the expression of Shin Yong's brother, Shin Feng, darkened. This is too much. This is too much. Even after knowing that Shin Yong came from the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion, Ning Yu still dared to attack Shin Yong. Perhaps he was the only one in this world. It had to be known that even within the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion, there weren't many martial artists that dared to think of killing Shin Yong. Big brother, I want Ning Yu to die without a burial. I want to grind his bones to dust. I want to cut him into pieces. I want to. Shin Yong's face was filled with malice as he glared at Ning Yu. Ning Yu, although I don't know where your courage comes from, I can clearly tell you that you've offended someone you shouldn't have offended. Shin Feng took a deep breath and said in a low voice, "Kneel down and kowtow to Shin Yong a few times to obtain his forgiveness. Otherwise, I'll make you beg for death. You're at the early manifestation realm." He directly disregarded Shin Feng's words, and his gaze swept over Shin Feng and the other woman. After that, he said, "She's at the half-step fortune realm. Looks like the forces of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion are quite formidable. Any random person here possesses a cultivation at the half-step fortune realm. Don't change the subject. Are you going to kneel or not?" Shin Feng coldly shouted. "Kneel? Why wouldn't I kneel?" Ning Yu was puzzled, but it didn't take long for Ning Yu to change the topic and say, "But the one kneeling isn't me, it's Shin Yong." When he spoke up to hear, Ning Yu stopped and pondered for a moment before he continued. "If it was you, then it wouldn't be impossible. Are you fucking kidding me?" Shen Feng had been trying his best to restrain the rage in his heart, but when he heard Ning Yu's words, he finally couldn't restrain himself any longer and completely erupted. "Some people want to die, but they can't blame me." Swoosh! In Shen Feng's heart, he'd already taken Ning Yu to be a dead man. The Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion did indeed need to recruit formidable geniuses. But not every branch needed geniuses. Some of the stronger branches were already saturated with geniuses, and they basically didn't need geniuses. But the branch that Shen Feng belonged to had a particularly great need for geniuses. Even so, Shen Feng didn't plan on recruiting Ning Yu into his branch. This was because Ning Yu was too arrogant and deserved a beating. I want to see just what sort of ability an early manifestation realm martial artist of the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion has. On the surface, Ning Yu didn't place Shin Feng in his heart. But in private, Ning Yu was extremely serious. The half-step manifestation realm Shin Yong was already so terrifying. Just imagine how terrifying was the early manifestation realm Shin Feng. Thus, Ningyu's mind was highly focused. He punched out with a backhand, his fist colliding with Shenfeng's. Shua! Shua! In the next moment, the two figures rapidly retreated. What? Ningyu is this strong? Shanyang's face was filled with horror as he saw the distance Ningyu and Shenfeng had retreated. Just from the distance they retreated. Ningyu and Shenfeng were about the same. Both sides were evenly matched, but this was only the surface. Only the people involved knew who had the advantage in this strike. Shenfeng. In the first strike, Shenfeng had the absolute advantage. Although Ningyu's distance was about the same as Shenfeng's, even now, Ningyu still felt a slight swelling pain in his palm. Shenfeng should be cultivating some kind of strength-enhancing magic art. Ningyu rubbed his swollen wrist as he thought to himself, Ningyu is not simple. He can actually block my move. Compared to Ningyu's shock, Shenfeng was even more shocked. Shenfeng had used a Herculean fist technique. In the past, when Shenfeng was at the half-step manifestation realm, she could easily defeat a middle-stage manifestation realm martial artist using a Herculean fist technique. Now that Shenfeng had advanced to the early-stage manifestation realm, the power of her Herculean fist technique had increased by who knew how many times. Yet, Ningyu could still block it. From this, it could be seen that Ningyu had some skill. No matter what, Ningyu cannot be left alive. The more she knew how powerful Ningyu was, the more Shenfeng wanted to kill Ningyu. Once this kind of person was allowed to fully mature, the consequences would be unthinkable. Guyu, bring Ouyang in here. Although she had decided to kill Ningyu, Shenfeng also knew that Ningyu was not easy to kill. Therefore, Shenfeng wanted to use Ouyang to make Ningyu hesitate and cause Ningyu to show an opening. As long as Ningyu showed an opening, Shenfeng could seize the opportunity and give Ningyu a fatal blow. Get over there. The young woman called Lone Moon kicked Ouyang back, sending him in front of Shenfeng. Shenfeng pointed at Ouyang and said, Ningyu, you must have a good relationship with Ouyang. If you want to save Ouyang, hold on. Ningyu directly interrupted Shenfeng and said indifferently, I know what you want to say next, but I also have something to tell you. When I attacked Shinyong earlier, I secretly left a trace of soul force in his body. Chapter 789. You caused me what? You left a wisp of soul force in my body. Ningyu's words were like a bomb exploding in Shinyong's heart. Shenyong hurriedly used his insight technique to probe his body's condition. At this time Ningyu said, You'd better not examine me, otherwise I can't guarantee what will happen. Hearing Ningyu's words, Shinyong froze in place. He pointed a finger at Ningyu and said, I advise you to take back the soul force in my body, otherwise no one in this world can save you. Shinyong was stupid, but that didn't mean Shenfeng was stupid. Shenfeng slapped Shinyong's face, causing him to fall flat on his face. Go to the side and stay there. Without my permission, you are not allowed to speak. Shenfeng was enraged to the extreme. Fuck! How could there be such a stupid person in this world? Moreover, this idiot was actually his own younger brother. Shameful, this was really shameful. His life was in someone else's hands, and he still dared to clamor here? Big brother, you must save me. After being slapped by Shenfeng, Shinyong seemed to have become smarter. He covered his face and began to beg for help. Ningyu, take back the soul force in Shinyong's body. I will release Ouyang. Shenfeng's complexion darkened. He said, Opposing the 9-furnace divine pavilion is unwise. If you take back the soul force in Shenyong's body, I can let you join the 9-furnace divine pavilion unconditionally. I have a question. Ningyu stretched out a finger and lightly said, You didn't examine Shenyong's body, so why do you believe what I said is true? Haha, intuition. Shen Feng faintly smiled. Although Shen Feng said this, he didn't think so in his heart. Trusting in Ning Yu based on intuition was just a casual remark. Shen Feng had already determined that Shen Yong had a soul force left behind by Ning Yu. Otherwise, with his personality, he would have already attacked Ning Yu a second time. Why would he wait until now? Whoosh! Ouyang Luan stared at Ning Yu. His life was in the hands of Ning Yu. If Ning Yu didn't save him, he would die. Actually, it's not impossible to do this. Ning Yu looked at Ouyang Luan, pondered for a while, then said, I will withdraw the soul force from Shen Yong's body. You let Ouyang Luan go. Pa! Shen Feng snapped her fingers and said, straightforward. The corners of Shen Feng's mouth curled up slightly, but it disappeared in a flash and no one noticed it. Come back. It seemed that Ning Yu did not notice the smile that had risen from the corner of Shen Feng's mouth. With a low roar, a strand of spiritual force flew out from Shen Yong's body. Seeing Shen Yong's soul force flying out of his body, Shen Feng hurriedly used a secret technique to examine Shen Yong. Ha ha ha! A second later, Shen Feng couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ning Yu, I really wonder how you managed to cultivate to the late yin yang stage. Didn't anyone tell you that you can't trust the words of strangers? Ouyang Luan, I will kill you. I will also kill you. As these sinister words left his mouth, Shen Feng rose from the ground and rushed towards Ning Yu at an astonishing speed. Pucci! However, before Shen Feng could get very far, the sound of blood being sprayed sounded in his ears. Big brother, save! Pucci! Not far away, Shen Yong was bleeding from his 7 orifices, looking extremely miserable. Suddenly, Shen Yong's pleas for help came to a screeching halt. After spitting out a mouthful of blood, Shen Yong fell backwards. Plop! At this moment, the peerless genius of the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, Shen Yong, died. Ning Yu was no fool. One had to hold back when exchanging blows with an enemy. Otherwise, one wouldn't even know how they died. Ning Yu didn't completely retract Shen Yong's soul force. He still left a trace in Shen Yong's body and used a secret technique to evade Shen Feng's detection. This made things a little awkward. In other words, Shen Yong's death depended entirely on Shen Feng. If Shen Feng had obediently let Ouyang Luan go, Ning Yu wouldn't have killed Shen Yong on the spot. Instead, he would have let Shen Yong live a little longer. Swish! After killing Shen Yong, Ning Yu came to Ouyang Luan's side, grabbed him, and brought him to the side of the bronze door. It's a little dangerous here. It's better for you to wait inside. Ning Yu kicked Ouyang Luan into the bronze stone door and then closed the bronze stone door. After doing all this, Ning Yu twisted his neck and said to Shen Feng, I express my deepest apologies for the death of your younger brother, Shen Yong. However, there's something I want to tell you. Your younger brother didn't die by my hands, but by yours. How infuriating. Shen Feng nearly went crazy. Ning Yu had killed his brother in front of him. If this matter were to spread out, how could he maintain his foothold in the 9-furnace Divine Pavilion? I want you to die. Killing intent erupted from Shen Feng's body. The aura of the early good fortune realm was displayed without reservation. Shen Feng's overall strength should be around the late good fortune realm. As he felt the formidable aura that Shen Feng exuded, Ning Yu's complexion turned solemn. Although Shen Feng's cultivation was only at the early good fortune realm, Ning Yu was well aware that even if she faced a late good fortune realm martial artist, Shen Feng could still contend with them and even kill them. Guyu, think of a way to break open that bronze door. Don't leave a single person behind. Kill them all. Shen Feng said to the woman beside her as she attacked Ning Yu. Ning, you didn't care about Guyu's actions. Ning, you didn't believe that Guyu was that strong. With Guyu's strength, even if she was given 8 to 10 days, she still wouldn't be able to break open the bronze door. Therefore, Ning Yu only needed to focus on dealing with Shen Feng. Rumble. In the great hall, Ningyu and Xin Feng were engaged in a fierce battle. Xin Feng's cultivation was 2 or 3 small realms higher than Ningyu's. One was at the early good fortune realm, while the other was at the late yin-yang realm. In terms of strength, Shen Feng had a slight advantage. However, it was extremely difficult for Shen Feng to turn this advantage into a victory. It was basically impossible in a short period of time. Ningyu, you can't run away. I advise you to surrender. Otherwise, I will let you know what cruelty is. 5 minutes later, Shen Feng stopped. Her body floated in midair as she shouted in a low voice. Why should I allow myself to be captured? Although you are slightly stronger than me, killing me is harder than ascending to the heavens. Ningyu shrugged and said doubtfully, Is that so? As soon as Xin Feng finished speaking, she flicked her sleeve, and a flying sword instantly appeared in her hand. Wham! The flying sword in Xin Feng's hand was completely silver, and there was even a lifelike tiger on the blade. The tiger on the blade seemed to want to leave the flying sword, and it caused the flying sword to tremble in Xin Feng's hand. King rank, high-grade flying sword? Looking at the flying sword in Xin Feng's hand, Ningyu opened his mouth and was slightly shocked. Chapter 790. Powerful Red Devil, it's a little troublesome. Ningyu stared at the flying sword in Xin Feng's hand with an ugly expression. The Red Devil was in seclusion, so Ningyu couldn't use the Red Devil sword. If he could use the Red Devil sword, Ningyu naturally wouldn't be afraid of Xin Feng's king-grade superior flying sword. After all, the Red Devil sword had reached the king-grade superior flying sword. A king-grade superior flying sword versus a king-grade superior flying sword. Especially when the two martial artists' strength was about the same, it was obvious that the martial artist with the king-grade flying sword would win. Of course, all of this was built on the premise that Ningyu could use the Red Devil sword. Now that he couldn't use the Red Devil sword, everything was just empty talk. Humph, at least you know what's good for you. Xin Feng seemed to see the worry on Ningyu's face. He snorted coldly and said sinisterly, It's a worthy death to be killed by a king-grade superior flying sword. Bang! Just when Ningyu was about to speak, a muffled sound suddenly came from the spatial ring on his wrist. Swish! Hearing the muffled sound, Ningyu's expression instantly changed from worry to ecstasy. Ningyu, I have advanced to the pinnacle yin-yang stage. The Red Devil's voice slowly sounded in Ningyu's mind. Kuemo was a half-step supremacy Dan puppet, and the energy contained in his body was extremely huge. A third of the energy not only allowed the Red Devil to advance from the pinnacle yin-yang stage, but it also increased the Red Devil sword's power qualitatively. Swish! As the Red Devil's voice rang out, a red flying sword suddenly flew out of the spatial ring and landed steadily in Ningyu's hand. Holding the Red Devil sword, Ningyu closed his eyes and said indifferently, Xin Feng, if you want to kill me with a king-grade superior flying sword, we'll have to see if you have the ability. With the Red Demon sword, all the worries in Ningyu's heart were swept away. In exchange, he gained a strong sense of confidence. Acting all mysterious, clearly, Shen Feng had never witnessed the might of the Red Demon sword. He let out a cold cry, and with the silver-white flying sword in hand, he tore through space and appeared beside Ningyu like a wild horse that had escaped its reins. Let me show you what a high-grade king rank flying sword is. Shen Feng's eyes flashed with a terrifying light, and the silver-white flying sword in her hand slashed down from the sky. Roar! As the flying sword got closer and closer to Ningyu, the tiger on the sword actually let out a loud roar and separated from the flying sword. Its sawtooth-like teeth, its tongue as thick as an arm, and its greedy eyes all showed that this ferocious tiger had the bravery of 10,000 men. Faced with a huge tiger flying toward him, Ningyu flicked his wrist slightly, and the Red Demon's sword slashed lightly in midair. Whoosh! In a split second, the sharp blade and the giant tiger came into close contact. Roar! Roar! The giant tiger let out a deafening roar. It seemed like the giant tiger wanted to use this roar to block the red demon's blade. However, the tiger's roar sounded more like the sound of despair. Boom! All of a sudden, the giant tiger was split into two. Ningyu, I want you dead! Shen Feng's expression changed when he saw the red demon's sword split the tiger into two. He hurriedly injected the yuan qi in his body into the silver-white flying sword and slashed at Ningyu's neck. Shen Feng's attack could be said to be the most powerful move at this stage. Early stage, manifestation, realm cultivation, and a high-grade king, rank, flying sword. Even a late-stage manifestation realm cultivator would not dare to say that he could block this attack with 100% certainty. Ning Yu was still expressionless in the face of all this. Ding! In midair, Shen Feng's silver-white flying sword collided with the red demon's sword. A crisp sound rang out. Shen Feng grimaced in pain from the webbing between his thumb and forefinger, and his heart was filled with shock. What kind of flying sword is that? Could it be a high-grade king, rank, flying sword as well? Shen Feng's mouth was slightly agape, a little dumbfounded. It had to be known that the flying sword he used was a high-grade king, rank flying sword. For a flying sword to not be at a disadvantage against a king rank flying sword, it had to be at least a high-grade king rank flying sword. Shen Feng even felt that the red flying sword in Ningyu's hand was likely a top-grade king rank flying sword, or even an emperor rank flying sword. Thinking of this, Shen Feng, like many other martial artists who had determined that the red demon sword was an emperor rank flying sword, revealed a fiery expression. However, Shen Feng had overlooked one point. His cultivation was only at the early stage manifestation realm. Without using a flying sword, he could not kill Ningyu. Others had the qualifications to have fiery expressions, but he did not. Guyu, come and help. Shen Feng was, after all, a peerless genius of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion, and he knew his own strength. Therefore, Shen Feng called Guyu, who was trying hard to crack the bronze door, over. Guyu and Shin Yong had the same cultivation, half-step manifestation realm. In terms of strength, Guyu was slightly stronger than Shin Yong. Looking for help. Seeing Guyu appear beside Shen Feng, Ningyu raised his eyebrows and lightly said, "Since that's the case, Red Demon, come out. I'll leave this Guyu to you." Wang Wang. As Ningyu's voice fell, the void beside him surged and a young man in red appeared. Shua. The young man was Red Demon. The first thing he did after coming out was to deal with Guyu according to Ningyu's instructions. A mere peak Yin-Yang realm martial artist dares to be so arrogant in front of me. Guyu coldly snorted when he felt the aura exuding from Red Demon. He clearly did not take Red Demon seriously. Shen Feng, 1 minute. I'll be right back. Rumble. Without waiting for Shen Feng's reply, Guyu began fighting with Red Demon. As the saying went, there were no mediocre people in the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. Anyone who could enter the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion was very strong. Jumping realms to fight wasn't a problem. In the past, Guyu would not even look at a peak Yin-Yang realm martial artist like Red Demon. Now, she could not stand Red Demon's arrogant personality. A peak Yin-Yang realm martial artist actually dared to challenge a peerless genius of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion who was at the half-step manifestation realm? Wasn't this just looking for sh*T? However, what happened next was out of everyone's expectations. Even Ningyu could not believe what he saw. Bang! One move. In just one move, Guyu, who was at the half-step manifestation realm, was defeated by Red Demon. Moreover, Guyu was completely defeated. If it wasn't for the fact that her strength was still acceptable, then this punch from the Red Devil would have sent her to see Hades. Hong Mo, why is your strength so formidable? Ningyu's eyes widened as he said in disbelief. In Ning Yu's knowledge, although Red Demon had advanced to the peak Yin-Yang realm, his overall strength was between the early and middle manifestation realm. The strength that the Red Fiend displayed just now was at least at the late-stage creation realm. I forgot to tell you, I could have advanced to the half-step manifestation realm, but I didn't, Red Demon answered honestly. What the F***? At this moment, Ning Yu had the urge to curse. If he had known this would happen, he definitely would not have let Red Demon deal with Guyu. Chapter 791. Chapter 791. An illusory figure. Seeing Ning Yu's reaction, the Red Devil scratched his head, a little embarrassed. When he heard that Ning Yu wanted him to deal with Guyu, he did so without thinking too much about it. Ning Yu, after the awkwardness, the Red Devil said, with your strength, you can even contend with a late manifestation realm martial artist, let alone an early manifestation realm martial artist. Although that's true, Xin Feng is a peerless genius of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. If he has some powerful trump card, we won't be able to bear the consequences, Ning Yu said after some thought. I'm so angry. You guys don't put me in your eyes at all. Xin Feng was a peerless genius of the Nine Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. How could he tolerate Ning Yu and the Red Devil's sarcasm and belittling him like this? With Xin Feng's personality, he wouldn't be able to tolerate it. Thus, Xin Feng grasped a silver flying sword again and charged at Ning Yu. Ning Yu was the main culprit. As long as Ning Yu was killed, all the problems would be solved. Refusing a toast only to drink a forfeit. Ning Yu growled and slashed down with the Red Demon's sword in his hand. Whoosh! In a split second, several rays of sword light appeared in midair, blasting toward Xin Feng all at once. Break for me! Xin Feng wasn't a pushover either. He also waved his silver flying sword, and dozens of sword beams flew out. Kacha! 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 Inside the hall, countless sword beams collided together like a huge sword beam array. The scene was spectacular. In the center of the sword beam array, Ning Yu and Xin Feng began to fight in close combat. From an outsider's point of view, Xin Feng definitely had the upper hand in close combat between Ning Yu and Xin Feng. After all, whether it was in terms of cultivation or soul force, Xin Feng was stronger than Ning Yu. Xin Feng's cultivation was at the early stage of the Fate realm, while Ning Yu was only at the late stage of the Yin-Yang realm. Xin Feng's soul force was at the early stage of the 7th grade, while Ning Yu's was only at the peak of 6th grade. In this way, Xin Feng did indeed have the upper hand, but that was not the case. In terms of perception, Ning Yu wasn't just a little bit stronger than Xin Feng. In his previous life, Ning Yu had been a Sky Supreme. Ordinary cultivators couldn't even compare to him in perception. Bang! After a few moves, Ning Yu seized the opportunity and punched Xin Feng's chest. The enormous force caused Xin Feng to retreat a few meters back. Puchi! Xin Feng vomited a mouthful of dark red blood. His face was filled with terror. Shocking! It was extremely shocking. Xin Feng held his chest and said in a low voice, Ning Yu, who exactly are you? Why is your perception so strong? Originally, Xin Feng wanted to rely on close combat to defeat Ning Yu. But who would have imagined that Ning Yu's perception was so much stronger than his? They weren't on the same level at all. Things didn't go according to plan. In the end, Ning Yu easily defeated him. Xin Feng regretted it so much that his intestines turned green. But there was no medicine for regret in the world. Xin Feng could only stabilize Ning Yu first and fight for time to use his one and only trump card. I don't think I need to tell you why my perception is so strong, right? Ning Yu placed his hands behind his back and shrugged. Humph. Don't think that I don't know. Xin Feng snorted coldly. Pooh! Xin Feng's cold snort stopped abruptly before he finished speaking. because Shinfeng noticed that Guyu had suddenly appeared behind Ningyu. Moreover, her eyes were wide open and her face was filled with terror. You, how did you notice me? Guyu didn't dare believe everything before her eyes. After all, she used a secret technique and only spent 0.001 seconds to appear behind Ningyu. Ningyu's quick reaction had indeed exceeded her expectations. Most importantly, it wasn't that Ningyu noticed her, but that Ningyu had responded by punching her heart. Haha, you forgot that Hong Mo has been paying attention to you. Ningyu turned around and said with a faint smile, I'm sorry, my perception was always on you. When you disappeared, I notified Ningyu immediately. Hong Mo looked at Guyu apologetically and said, Eft. Guyu spat out another mouthful of blood when she heard Hong Mo's words. Her body fell backward. You killed Guyu. Guyu's death caused Shen Feng's body to tremble uncontrollably. The anger on her face was obvious. Shin Feng didn't have such a reaction when Shin Yong was killed not long ago. It was obvious that Guyu's position in Shen Feng's heart was much higher than Shin Yong's. Ningyu was rather curious about this point. Shin Feng hadn't been too close to Guyu in the beginning, but now that Guyu was dead, Shin Feng was acting like this. It was inevitable that she was crying crocodile tears. However, Ningyu didn't want to ask about Shin Feng and Guyu's messy relationship. There was only one thought in Ningyu's mind, and that was to kill Shin Feng as soon as possible to avoid any unforeseen events. Solitaire. Ningyu waved the red demon sword, and an astonishing sword wave appeared. Shin Feng fished out a jade pendant from her sleeve as she looked at the astonishing sword wave in the air. Rip! Shin Feng used her flying sword to cut her finger, and all the blood in her body was absorbed by the jade pendant. In the end, Shin Feng was as thin as a matchstick and couldn't even stand properly. Crack! When the blood in the jade pendant reached its limit, it cracked and shattered. An illusory figure appeared where the jade pendant was. Rumble! As soon as the illusory figure appeared, he casually threw out a palm and easily scattered the solitaire that Ningyu had slashed out. Shen Feng, call me over. You are. After scattering the solitaire, the illusory figure wanted to say something, but he saw Guyu on the other side. In other words, he must have seen Guyu being killed by Ningyu on the other side. Who killed you, The illusory figure's aura erupted and crazily pressed down on Shin Feng. Crack! Shin Feng was already as thin as a matchstick. Now that she was suppressed by the illusory figure's aura, she instantly fell to the ground. It's Ningyu. Shin Feng used all the strength in her body to say. After saying this, all the strength in Shen Feng's body was sapped, and she panted heavily. Ningyu! The illusory figure turned to stare at Ningyu and said coldly, What you used just now was the Supreme Nine Purities Temple's Nine Purities sword art. If I'm not wrong, you're from the Supreme Nine Purities Temple. However, the illusory figure changed the topic and berated. Guyu is my younger sister. You killed her. Even if God came, he wouldn't be able to save you. What you said is very interesting. Are you saying that only Guyu is allowed to kill me, but I'm not allowed to kill her? Ningyu said lightly. That's right. Only Guyu can kill you, but you can't kill her. The illusory figure said coldly. Haha, what kind of **T logic is that? If your real body came, I might be a little afraid. But your current strength is only at the later stage of manifestation, not even the peak of the manifestation realm. Do you think I'll be afraid of you? Ningyu said lightly with a smile. Sharp-tongued. Do you think I'm only at the later stage of manifestation? A cold look appeared on the illusory figure's face. His eyes turned cold, and his aura increased again. Buzz. After a while, the illusory figure's aura increased from the later stage of manifestation to the peak of the manifestation realm. Chapter 792. Chapter 792. Entering Peak Manifestation Realm. Ning Yu's expression finally changed as he felt the powerful aura emanating from the illusory figure. If the illusory figure's cultivation was only at the late manifestation realm, then Ning Yu would naturally be unafraid. After all, with the red demon sword, Ning Yu could contend with a late manifestation realm martial artist. After the red demon fused with the red demon sword, he could even kill a late manifestation realm martial artist. But against a peak manifestation realm martial artist, Ning Yu didn't have the slightest confidence in winning. Shen Feng, you piece of trash. When we left the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion, you promised me that you would protect my little sister. After the illusory figure's aura rose to the peak manifestation realm, he didn't immediately attack Ning Yu. Instead, he stared at Shen Feng and coldly said, "Now that my little sister has been killed, what meaning is there for you to live? You can die now. Gu Yuan, you can't kill me. Your little sister's death has nothing to do with me. It's all because of Ning Yu, Puchi." Shen Feng hurriedly cried out when he heard that Gu Yuan wanted to kill him. When a person was in despair, the potential that erupted from them was always terrifying. Originally, Shen Feng didn't have any strength left and was lying on the ground like a dead dog. But under the threat of death, he burst forth with a terrifying power and roared hysterically. However, in Gu Yuan's heart, Shen Feng had to bear a great deal of responsibility for his little sister's death. Thus, Shen Feng had to be buried with his little sister today. Kacha! In the next moment, Gu Yuan lifted his right foot and ruthlessly stomped down. A giant footprint ruthlessly stomped on Shen Feng's body. Shen Feng's skinny body definitely couldn't withstand Gu Yuan's powerful footprint. Without a doubt, Shen Feng was trampled to death by Gu Yuan's foot. Red Demon. Seeing Gu Yuan's brutal kick, Ning Yu shouted in a low voice. Shua. Red Demon understood. His figure flashed and entered the red demon sword. No wonder you dared to kill someone from the Nine-Furnace Divine Pavilion and my little sister. So it turns out you have a royal step flying sword with a spiritual body. Gu Yuan stared at the red flying sword in Ning Yu's hand and darkly said, "Give it to me. A royal step flying sword isn't something someone like you can possess." Buzz! As Gu Yuan's last word fell, his body once again became illusory. This time, Gu Yuan had completely merged with the void. He had completely disappeared. It was even to the extent that even Ning Yu's perception was unable to detect his existence. Logically speaking, Ning Yu's perception was very strong. Even if Gu Yuan was a martial artist at the peak of the creation realm, he would not be able to hide from Ning Yu's perception. But the truth was that Ning Yu couldn't find Gu Yuan's location. There was only one explanation for this situation. Gu Yuan's main body was at least at the supremacy realm. In fact, it was highly possible that he was not an ordinary first-grade human supreme martial artist, but a second-grade or even third-grade human supreme martial artist. Rumble. At that moment, Gu Yuan appeared on Ning Yu's left side. Gu Yuan's fist carried a violent Yuan Qi gale as it fiercely smashed towards Ning Yu's head. Gu Yuan's punch was not only fast, but also extremely powerful. If Ning Yu was unlucky enough to be hit by this punch, he would be severely injured at the very least. Palm of life and death. Palm countered fist. At the critical moment, Ning Yu's wrist was wrapped in thick Yuan Qi as he backhanded Gu Yuan's fist. Bang! As the fist and palm collided, Ning Yu's body was pushed back until he reached the edge of the bronze door before he stabilized himself. Although palm countered fist, it was useless if there was a large difference in strength between the two parties. Solitaire. Ning, you did not sit still and wait for death. He waved the red demon sword in his hand repeatedly. In a split second, several powerful sword waves separated from the red demon sword and blasted towards Gu Yuan. It really is the Supreme Nine Purities Temple's Supreme Nine Purities sword technique. Gu Yuan looked at the sword waves that appeared in the air and said regretfully, "What a pity. If you had cultivated the Supreme Nine Purities sword technique to the last few moves, I might have been a little afraid. But now," at this point, Gu Yuan paused for a moment before continuing, "only death awaits you. Break." As Gu Yuan's voice rang out, he waved his sleeves and several cold lights swept out. Every ray of cold light collided with a sword wave. In just a few seconds, the solitaire that Ning Yu had slashed out was easily countered by Gu Yuan. Die! After dispersing the sword waves in the air, Gu Yuan instantly appeared behind Ning Yu. Bang! Gu Yuan's fist blasted out, and it landed precisely on Ning Yu's back. The huge force that came from his back made Ning Yu taste blood in his throat. However, Ning Yu forcefully swallowed the blood in his throat. What should we do? The red demon's voice sounded in Ning Yu's mind, sounding slightly anxious. Gu Yuan is just an illusory body. The reason why he can persist until now is because of Xin Feng's energy. As long as we delay for a few more minutes, Gu Yuan will be beaten back to his original form, Ning Yu said solemnly. If an illusory body could maintain such powerful combat power for a long time, it would be amazing. As a person who had lived 2 lives, Ning Yu had seen many illusory bodies. In general, the time that an illusory body could last would shorten as its strength increased. If there was no subsequent energy injection, Gu Yuan's illusory body could only last for 3 minutes at most. After 3 minutes, Gu Yuan could not do anything to Ning Yu. Why don't we hide behind the bronze door first? The red demon suggested a compromise. Although Gu Yuan's illusory body was at the peak of the manifestation realm, it would not be easy to break open the bronze door. At the very least, 3 minutes was far from enough. All right, let's do that. Ning Yu was not an indecisive person. He flicked his wrist and waved the red demon's sword, unleashing a sword wave. The sword wave was headed in Gu Yu's direction. Oh no! Seeing the sword wave blasting toward Gu Yuan's expression changed drastically. He hurriedly appeared in front of Gu Yu and blocked the shocking sword wave. Let's go! Just as Gu Yuan blocked the sword wave, Ning Yu's figure flashed and appeared in front of the bronze door in the blink of an eye. Creak! The bronze door opened automatically, and Ning Yu and the red demon quickly entered. Thank goodness! Thank goodness! After protecting Gu Yu's body, Gu Yuan heaved a sigh of relief. Gu Yu had already been killed. If her body was destroyed, Gu Yuan would not even have tears to cry. You forced me to do this. Gu Yuan gently put Gu Yu down and walked toward the bronze door. Soon, Gu Yuan arrived in front of the bronze door. Go! Gu Yuan's wrist emitted a terrifying wave of Yuan Qi as he punched at the bronze door. Bang! The huge fist aura blasted against the bronze door. However, what happened next left Gu Yuan a little dumbfounded. The bronze door shook for a while before returning to normal. There's something strange about this stone door. Gu Yuan did not take it to heart when he failed to blast open the bronze door. He only thought that the stone door was a little strange. Chapter 793. Scroll Explosion Rumble. Outside the bronze door. In order to break the bronze door as soon as possible, Gu Yuan used all his strength in every strike. Gu Yuan knew his body's condition very well. If he couldn't open the bronze door in 3 minutes, he would have to leave. Otherwise, he wouldn't be able to take Gu Yu's corpse away. Inside the bronze door, Ning Yu was trying his best to recover. After a big battle, Ning Yu had used up too much of his energy. If he didn't replenish it in time and Gu Yuan used a secret technique to open the bronze door in advance, the consequences would be unimaginable. The Dark Emperor and the rest would need at least 1 to 2 hours to recover to their peak state. Ning Yu had to be prepared at all times to prevent any sudden changes. Damn it! Time passed quietly. In the blink of an eye, a minute had passed. Outside the stone door, Gu Yuan's face was ashen and bloodless. He spent a minute, but not only did he not break the stone door open, he had also used up a lot of his energy. If this went on, he wouldn't even need 3 minutes. At most 2 minutes, his energy would be depleted. No, I have to think of a way. Gu Yuan instantly stopped attacking the stone door. He furrowed his brows and thought of a solution. 3 seconds later, Gu Yuan raised his eyebrows and thought of a perfect solution. Ningyu, I advise you to come out of the bronze door as soon as possible. Otherwise, I can't guarantee that I won't do anything out of line. Gu Yuan didn't speak very loudly because he knew that Ningyu, who was behind the stone door, would definitely hear him. Another 3 seconds passed. Seeing that Ningyu still hadn't walked out of the bronze door, Gu Yuan continued, "All right, since you guys don't want to come out, I'll start with the royal family. Anyway, this illusory body of mine can last for another 2 minutes. 2 minutes is enough for me to kill a few hundred people." Swoosh! Ningyu and Ouyang Luin could hear Gu Yuan's words clearly. Ouyang Luin was the ancestor of the royal family. If Gu Yuan wanted to start a massacre in the royal family, how could he sit back and watch? If this matter were to spread, not only would his reputation be affected, it would also affect the royal family's control over the Great Xia kingdom. Ouyang Luin had to think of a way to stop it. With Ouyang Luin's strength, he definitely wouldn't be able to stop it. Therefore, Ouyang Luin turned his attention to Ningyu. "Don't say any more, I'm listening." Seeing Ouyang Luin's hesitant expression, Ningyu waved his hand and said in a deep voice, "Everyone who has recovered to 70% of their strength, leave this place with me." Buzz! With that, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he was the first to leave. Behind Ningyu were the Dark Emperor, Furball, the Silver-Winged Dragon, the Twin Horns Beast, and even Ouyang Luin. Creak! Gu Yuan sneered as he looked at the figures that walked out of the bronze door. "At least you are sensible. In that case, you have saved me a lot of trouble." Xiao! Gu Yuan had less than 2 minutes left, so he didn't waste any more time. He leaped up, bringing with him a gust of wind as he charged straight at Ningyu. "Everyone disperse!" Seeing Gu Yuan approaching him, Ningyu bellowed, "You guys attack from the outside. I will stop him. Ouyang Luin, go and evacuate everyone around the hall. You have 30 seconds. Hearing Ningyu's instructions, the Dark Emperor and the others hurriedly dispersed. Ouyang Luin naturally didn't dare to be negligent. He quietly left the hall and began to do as Ningyu said. As for Ningyu, he drew out the red demon sword and slashed out several sword rays. Whoosh! Countless sword projections shot out from the red demon sword, instantly surrounding Gu Yuan in the middle. Child's play. Facing the sword rays around him, Gu Yuan flicked his sleeves and a terrifying gust of wind swept out. The terrifying gust of wind was very powerful. The sword rays that Ningyu slashed out could not even withstand for a second and were all scattered. "Ningyu, this day next year will be the anniversary of your death." After succeeding in his attack, Gu Yuan's eyes emitted a cold glint. His body turned into an afterimage and attacked Ningyu. Not good. Gu Yuan had just moved when his expression changed slightly. In the next moment, Gu Yuan hurriedly turned around and once again fanned out several terrifying gusts of wind. Puchi! 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 Fortunately, Gu Yuan reacted in time. Otherwise, the attacks of the Dark Emperor and the others would be enough to make him suffer. The Dark Emperor and the others had only recovered 70% of their strength. Facing Gu Yuan's powerful attacks, they did not have much strength to resist. After spitting out several mouthfuls of blood, the aura of the Dark Emperor and the others dropped to the freezing point. "Ha ha ha, 2 dogs, 2 demonic beasts, don't be anxious. Wait for me to take care of Ningyu. Then, forget it, I'll kill you guys first." Looking at the Dark Emperor and the others lying beside the bronze door, Gu Yuan first laughed loudly. Then he changed his mind and decided to start killing the Dark Emperor and the others. In any case, it did not matter who he killed first. In Gu Yuan's heart, Ningyu and the others would die sooner or later. It was just a matter of who came first. Gu Yuan, aren't you going to kill me first? Right at this moment, Ningyu's voice rang in Gu Yuan's ears. Just you wait. After I kill these demonic beasts, it'll be your turn. No. Hearing that, Gu Yuan subconsciously replied. However, halfway through his sentence, Gu Yuan realized that something was wrong. Something was wrong with Ningyu's tone. There was something fishy. Thinking of this, Gu Yuan turned around and looked at Ningyu. With that, Gu Yuan's eyes revealed a look of shock. Gu Yuan, this is for you. Ningyu made a grabbing motion in the air, and a scroll instantly appeared in his hand. As Ningyu flicked his wrist, the ancient scroll drew a mark in the air and instantly unfolded. Ancient scroll! The ancient scroll in Ningyu's hand was obtained from Hu Jian. Originally, Ningyu wanted to keep the ancient scroll to protect himself and use it when he encountered an honorable realm powerhouse in the future. However, Gu Yuan's strength was too strong. Ningyu had no choice but to use the ancient scroll in advance. However, before using the ancient scroll, Ningyu had to get Ouyang Luin to evacuate all the people around the hall, because the ancient scroll's power was terrifyingly strong. Swoosh! After Ningyu threw out the ancient scroll, he turned around and headed straight for the bronze door without another word. Swoosh! 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 As Ningyu had warned the Dark Emperor and the others in advance, they tore through the void and headed for the bronze door immediately. Let's go! Gu Yuan's illusory body strength was at the peak of the manifestation realm. Seeing that Ningyu and the others had left, he dashed towards the bronze door with all his strength. Bang! However, the Dark Emperor and the others were originally beside the bronze door, so they were much faster than Gu Yuan. Gu Yuan could only look on helplessly as the bronze door closed. Explode! Inside the bronze door, Ningyu bellowed. Rumble! As Ningyu bellowed, the ancient scroll suddenly exploded. Crack! The power of the ancient scroll was immense. With it as the center, the surrounding space cracked. Ningyu! I, Gu Yuan, will remember you. Chapter 794. Chapter 794. Return to the corpse sect Pucci. When the ancient scroll exploded, a young man in a hidden cave suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely notice that the young man's face was very similar to someone else's. Gu Yuan. Yes, the young man was Gu Yuan's real body. Gu Yuan wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth and took out a crystal ball from his pocket. All the geniuses of the 9th branch of the Xia Kingdom, pay attention to a martial artist called Ningyu. Inform me as soon as you have any news. Remember, Ningyu is very strong. No one is allowed to act without permission. Crack! Then, Gu Yuan squeezed the crystal ball with his wrist and crushed it. Ningyu, you killed Guyu and made me lose an illusory body. Let's settle this score slowly. Rumble! With the hall as the center, a deafening explosion spread out rapidly in all directions. At this moment, all the martial artists in the royal family were shocked. They all looked at the hall. What on earth exploded? Why is it so powerful? Don't ask. The old ancestor said that no one can enter that hall without his permission. Right, the old ancestor just left that hall, so he must know something. Swish! All the martial artists around the hall were moved to a safe area by Ouyang Lin. At this moment, when they heard the loud noise coming from the hall, they all changed their expressions and started to discuss. Everyone listen up. If anyone dares to tell anyone about what happened today, don't blame me for being rude. In the air, Ouyang Luin's eyes were cold, and the aura of the middle stage of the Fate Realm was completely revealed. Puff! Under the pressure of Ouyang Luin's powerful aura, some martial artists with lower cultivation even knelt on the ground with pale faces. I wonder what happened to Ningyu and the others. Did they die in the explosion of the scroll? Ouyang Luin took a deep breath. His gaze shifted towards the main hall as he murmured. In Ouyang Luan's heart, he hoped that Ning Yu would die in the battle, because if he died, he wouldn't have to listen to Ning Yu's orders for a year. Of course, Ouyang Luan also knew that Ning Yu had probably escaped again. Ouyang Luan's guess was right. Several figures appeared in the main hall. Ning Yu was among them. However, Ning Yu's aura was slightly weak as he stood on the bronze door. Cough, cough. Ning Yu looked at the ruined hall and the bronze door under his feet. He coughed dryly and said, "The explosion of the ancient scrolls is indeed powerful. What a pity." "What's a pity?" Mu Feng, who was beside Ning Yu, was puzzled. "It's nothing. I just feel that using an ancient scroll to deal with an illusory body is a little wasteful." Ning Yu smiled faintly and said, "Originally, I had everyone come here in order to recover to their peak condition as soon as possible. Who would have thought that such an unforeseen event would occur?" Mu Feng and the others remained silent. Ning Yu continued, "In a while, I will be leaving the capital with the Dark Emperor and the others, so I have a few things to ask of you. First, Lu Wei is with Xikong Ling. I hope you can help me find them and protect them. Second, do your best to prepare a set of ingredients to refine the regeneration pill. When I return, I will personally preside over the refining. Third, the launching country's Feng clan may send people to the capital. If someone wants to kill Feng Zi, I hope you can stop them for him. You have to do these things secretly. Don't let anyone know." After listening to Ning Yu's words, Mu Feng and the others nodded, indicating that there was no problem with these matters. "Please, I will be back as soon as possible." Ning Yu cupped his hands at everyone. Then his figure flashed, and he was the first to leave the main hall. Behind Ning Yu, the Dark Emperor, Hairy Ball, the Silver-Winged Dragon, and the twin-horned beast followed closely. Ning Yu only had one goal in leaving the capital, and that was to go to the Corpse Sect's headquarters in the Great Xia country. He had to go to the Corpse Sect's headquarters in the Great Xia country because there was a huge skeleton in the treasure room of the Corpse Sect's headquarters. And that skeleton was the heaven-devouring dog when it was alive. Everyone split up. Looking at the backs of Ning Yu and the others as they left, Mu Feng let out a low roar, then tore through the void and disappeared. The Black Widow, Old Ancestor Giomo, and the black and white heroes also gradually merged with the void. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Outside the main hall, Ouyang Luan slightly frowned and was a little puzzled. Ouyang Luan's perception wasn't too weak. He could clearly feel that one of the figures that left the main hall was Ning Yu. After dealing with the matters of the royal family, personally go to Tianqian City and protect the Ning family. However, not long after Ouyang Luan was puzzled, a familiar voice sounded in his ears. Hearing this, the hope that Ouyang Luan had ignited was extinguished once again. Sigh. Ouyang Luan sighed softly, then waved his hand and said in a clear voice, "The royal family will enter the first level of alert. All martial artists above the Yinyang realm are to go to the conference hall for a meeting." Whoosh! Ouyang Luan's words caused a huge uproar in the royal family. Since the establishment of the Xia Kingdom's royal family, they had only entered the first level of alert once. However, at that time the level 1 alert was mysteriously cancelled. Although they didn't know why Ouyang Luan would announce the royal family to enter the first level of alert, some quick-witted martial artists could guess some clues. It must be related to the explosion in the main hall. Of course, the quick-witted martial artists didn't dare to say anything and obediently went to the conference hall. Swish! In a certain dense forest, several figures were flying quickly. If one looked carefully, one could see that among these figures, there was one man and 4 beasts. The man was naturally Ning Yu, and the beasts were, of course, the Dark Emperor, Hairy Ball, the Silver-Winged Dragon, and the Twin Horns Beast. It had been a day and a night since they left the capital. At this time, Ning Yu and the others stopped at an open space to rest. The Dark Emperor laid on a huge stone and complained, "Ning Yu, do you know where the headquarters of the corpse insect is? During this day, Ningyu and the others hurried along while recovering. Needless to say, in a day, the Dark Emperor and the others miraculously recovered to their peak state. Fortunately, Ningyu still had royal-grade origin crystals on him. Otherwise, even if the Dark Emperor and the others were given 3 or 4 days, it would be very difficult for them to recover to their peak state. We will reach the Realm King City in a few more hours at full speed. Ningyu frowned and said, "Behind the Realm King City is the Great Hill Royal City. As long as we pass through the Great Hill Royal City, we will reach the Corpse Dragon Mountain Range. If I'm not wrong, the headquarters of the Corpse Insect is in the Corpse Dragon Mountain Range." Corpse Dragon Mountain Range. The Dark Emperor said doubtfully, "Stop!" Before the Dark Emperor finished speaking, Ningyu shouted in a low voice, "Pay attention to concealment!" Swish! Hearing Ningyu's words, combined with Ningyu's expression, the Dark Emperor and the others turned into shadows and entered the storage ring without saying a word. As for Ningyu, his body also gradually merged with the void. Whoosh! Chapter 795. Young Master. Chapter 795 inch. That's not right. I felt the aura of a living person just now. Why is there nothing after we arrived? The ages of these martial artists were not too old. Although they were young, their cultivation was abnormally heaven-defying. There were a total of 8 martial artists, 4 at the peak of the yin-yang realm, 2 at the half-step manifestation realm, 1 at the early stage of the manifestation realm, and 1 at the middle stage of the manifestation realm. With such a lineup, even if it was placed in a kingdom like the Great Xia Kingdom, it would be enough to crush any prodigy in that kingdom. Among them, the middle stage manifestation realm martial artist raised his eyebrows and murmured, "Could there be an even more heaven-defying genius in the Great Xia Kingdom?" Big brother, could it be Ningyu? Next to the middle stage manifestation realm martial artist, the early stage manifestation realm martial artist said hesitantly, "The Great Xia Kingdom is a place where even birds don't shit." Someone that Guyuan pays special attention to must have a great background. It's hard to say. According to the information Guyuan gave us, Ningyu is only at the late stage of the yin-yang realm. The middle stage manifestation realm martial artist said, according to my observation, there were a total of 5 auras here. The lowest aura was at the half-step manifestation realm, and there was even an aura like me at the middle stage of the manifestation realm. If that's the case, it shouldn't be Ningyu's group. The early stage manifestation realm martial artist thought for a moment and said, "Let's go as soon as possible. In front of us is the Realm King City. Once we get there, we should be able to meet up with the other group from the 9 Cauldrons Divine Pavilion. Yes, whether or not we can find Ning, you will depend on our luck. Our target this time is the huge skeleton in the headquarters of the Corpse Sect in the Corpse Dragon Mountain. As long as we can get that skeleton, in the next 9 Cauldron meeting, we won't be ranked 9th anymore. Buzz! These 8 cultivators didn't stay for too long and soon disappeared. After the 8 martial artists disappeared, Ningyu and the others appeared from the void. It really is in the Corpse Dragon Mountain Range. Ningyu took a deep breath. It seemed that his judgment was correct. The Corpse Dragon Mountain Range was indeed hidden in the Corpse Dragon Mountain Range. What are you waiting for? Let's go. The Dark Emperor said anxiously. Go. Ningyu knew that the Dark Emperor was in a hurry, so he did not stay any longer. Instead, he wrapped the essence around his ankles and flew towards the Realm King City. The silver winged dragon and the twin-horned beast were quite large in size, so they continued to hide in the storage ring. As for the Dark Sovereign and Furball, one was by Ningyu's side, while the other was perched on Ningyu's shoulder. The Realm King City and Great Hill Royal City were cities that were just inferior to the capital of the Great Xia Kingdom. There were crouching tigers and hidden dragons within. The actual rulers of the 2 royal cities were the Zhao clan and the Situ clan. However, ever since the Situ clan and Zhao clan's old ancestor died in battle, a group of mysterious forces swarmed into Great Hill Royal City and Realm King City and successfully took over the Zhao clan and Situ clan. On the surface, the two great monarch cities were still controlled by the Zhao clan and the Situ clan, but behind the scenes, the upper echelons of the two great clans had all been replaced. Wait a moment, routine inspection. At this time, a young man was stopped at the city gates of Realm King City. The young man was slightly skinny, and on the surface, he seemed to be at the early primal core stage. Check? Since when do we need to check when we enter Realm King City? Ningyu frowned slightly and pointed at the few martial artists who had just entered Realm King City. Why didn't they check but me instead? Why do you have so much nonsense to say? The peak primal core guard chided. Others didn't bring their pets, but you did. Realm King City has a new rule that all pets must be recorded to prevent pets from harming people. Recorded? When did this happen? Ningyu asked doubtfully. Now, the peak primal core guard reached deep into his pocket and took out a white piece of paper, pasting it on the wall. Ningyu looked over and saw that the white paper was as empty as a field. There was nothing on it. There's nothing on it, are you kidding me? Ningyu opened his mouth, because there was not even a strand of hair on the white paper, much less words. Sha. The next moment, the peak primal core guard took out a pen from his pocket and wrote a line of words on the white paper. All pets entering Realm King City must be recorded. Otherwise, they cannot step into Realm King City. The peak primal core guard pointed at the line of words that had just been written and said in a low voice, I suspect that both of your dogs have rabies, so I need to bring them to a designated place for a detailed examination. Woof woof. The Dark Emperor was so angry that his whole body was trembling, and he barked a few words at the guard. If not for Ningyu stopping him, with the Dark Emperor's temper, he would have let this guard know what cruelty was. Oh, you're still barking at me? The peak primal core guard's lips curled up, and he snapped his fingers. Snap! Then, several figures flew down from the city wall. These martial artist cultivation was at least in the early Yinyang realm, and there was even a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Ningyu frowned, and he could not help but shift his perception to the city wall. I want both that black and white dog. As for this person, just give him any crime and throw him into the beast arena to feed the beasts. On the city wall, Ningyu found a young man. The young man's cultivation was a little vague, probably between the Yinyang realm and the manifestation realm. The key was not the young man's cultivation, but the young man was communicating with the peak primal core guard through the soul. The contents of the soul communication were all heard by Ningyu. How troublesome! If not for the fact that the limelight has been tight recently, and I'm afraid of being discovered by others, why would I still need these pieces of trash? On the city wall, the young man lay on a chair and muttered to himself, The storm is brewing, it's getting more and more interesting. Whoosh! A few martial artists appeared at the city gate of Realm King City, attracting the attention of the surrounding martial artists. That kid is finished. It's not worth it to offend the young master of the Zhao family for 2 dogs. That's right, there was a peak Yinyang realm martial artist who did not want to be examined, and in the end he was killed by the young master of the Zhao family. His head was hung on the city wall for a few days. That kid's cultivation is only at the early primal core realm. Doesn't that mean that he has no way out? If no one comes to help, he can forget about living. The young master of the Zhao family suddenly rose to power, and he is extremely cruel. Those who offend him have never had a good ending. Ning Yu's acute senses clearly heard the surrounding martial artists' discussions. Through these discussions, Ning Yu at least knew that the person on the city wall was the young master of the Zhao family. However, Ning Yu was a little puzzled. The Zhao family's patriarch was only at the half-step manifestation realm, so why was there a half-step manifestation realm martial artist standing in front of him now? Could it be that after the Zhao family's patriarch died in battle, the Zhao family members were injected with hormones, and their cultivation soared like a rocket? Kid, you trespassed into Realm King City, refused to be examined, and contradicted the guards. These 3 crimes should have been punishable by death, but the heavens are merciful, so you don't have to be afraid of being killed. Just as Ningyu was deep in thought, the half-step manifestation realm martial artist spoke. Chapter 796. Colosseum what? Going to the Beast Fighting Colosseum to fight 100 battles? The Beast Battle Arena is really too terrifying. Many people who go there can't even last a single match before they are torn in half by the demonic beasts. If it were me, I would rather die. Upon hearing the half-step manifestation realm cultivator's words, the expressions of some of the cultivators who knew how terrifying the Beast Arena was changed. Realm King City had 3 terrifying areas: the Realm King City Arena, the Zhao family's forbidden area, and the Colosseum. Although the Spirit Beast Battle Arena was only ranked 3rd, even an Yin-Yang stage warrior might not be able to survive in the Spirit Beast Battle Arena, let alone Ningyu, who was only at the early primal core stage. Therefore, many cultivators shook their heads and observed a moment of silence for Ningyu. No problem. Let's go to the beast fighting arena to take a look. Ningyu remained silent for a moment. To everyone's surprise, he agreed to the request of the martial artist who was half a step into Blessed Realm. Voila! Ningyu's decision completely dumbfounded the surrounding martial artists. That was the bestial battle arena. Where did this early primal core stage warrior before him get the courage to go to the beast arena and fight with the beasts? Kid, quickly kneel down and apologize to them. Maybe you can keep your life. There were still many good people. An early-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist kindly reminded Ningyu, hoping that he could mend his ways. Whoosh! The kind-hearted man had just finished speaking when the half-step manifestation realm martial artist flashed and appeared beside him in the blink of an eye. Noisy! The martial artist, who was half a step into the manifestation realm, shouted in a low voice. He raised his right hand and smashed it down. Looking at the incoming fist, the kind-hearted man's expression changed drastically, and he hurriedly raised his arm to block. Bang! However, before the kind-hearted person could completely raise his arm, he heard a clear voice. Immediately after, the half-step manifestation realm martial artist retreated backward. It's you! The kind-hearted man stared at the young man standing in front of him with his mouth agape in disbelief. The young man standing in front of the kind-hearted person was Ningyu. At that moment, Ningyu rubbed his slightly swollen right wrist and said to the half-step manifestation realm martial artist, "This is between us. I don't want to implicate the innocent." Are you sure he is at the early primal core stage? Gulp, I don't think so. According to my observation, his cultivation is at least at the early stage of Yin-Yang realm. Early stage Yin-Yang realm, my foot. If he was in the early stage Yin-Yang realm, how could he have fought against a half-step creation realm martial artist from the Zhao family? The brain is a good thing. Hearing the discussions around him, the half-step manifestation realm martial artist's expression turned extremely ugly. Shameful, it was really too shameful. He was half a step into the manifestation state, while his opponent was only at the early primal core state. The two of them were not on the same level. In the end, he was forced to retreat. Although part of it was due to his carelessness, no matter what, Ningyu made him lose face in front of so many people. He had to get back at him. Go, take him down. The half-step manifestation realm martial artist roared furiously. Just as the half-step manifestation realm martial artist said those angry words, an indifferent voice sounded in his ears. Hold on, bring him to the beast fighting arena. I want to see what's so special about him. Hearing this, the half-step manifestation realm martial artist hurriedly berated the martial artists who were charging towards Ningyu. Stop. All of you stop. The The heavens are merciful. I will keep my word. Bring him to the beast fighting arena. As long as he can last 100 rounds, I will let him go. The martial artists who were about to reach Ning Yu all revealed doubtful expressions when they heard the half-step manifestation realm martial artist's words. They were not like the half-step manifestation realm martial artist who had the right to come into contact with the young master of the Zhao family. What are you waiting for? Lead the way to the beast fighting arena. The half-step manifestation realm martial artist could not be bothered to explain and shouted coldly. Swoosh! After the half-step manifestation realm martial artist shouted, a few Yin-Yang realm martial artists sensibly led the way. Let's go to the beast fighting arena to take a look. Jiawang City was an unfamiliar place. Ning Yu's thoughts were to not cause too much of a commotion before he understood the specific situation. After all, the current Jiawang City was revealing some strange places. Woof woof! The Dark Emperor barked a few times at the half-step manifestation realm martial artist, then followed behind Ningyu and headed towards Jiawang City. As for Ningyu, he quietly stopped the moment he stepped into Jiawang City. Ningyu naturally glanced at the city walls where the young master of the Zhao family was, then entered Jiawang City without looking back. Hua! Ningyu's glance seemed casual, but it was not. At the very least, the young master of the Zhao family stood up from his chair with a swoosh, his face filled with shock. He discovered me? The young master of the Zhao family frowned deeply. One had to know that the young master of the Zhao family's concealment technique was extremely brilliant, not to mention an early primal core martial artist. Even an ordinary manifestation realm martial artist might not be able to discover his whereabouts. This mysterious glance from Ningyu indeed made him feel as if he had been seen through. I don't believe that the great Xia Empire has such a genius. I must properly meet him. The young master of the Zhao family's lips curled up, and he smiled faintly. For the first round of the beast fighting arena, let my mount, the demon dragon, personally go up to test him. Buzz buzz! Subsequently, the body of the young master of the Zhao family blended into the void and disappeared in the blink of an eye. You don't want to live anymore? You even dare to offend the Zhao family for an unknown martial artist? After Ningyu and the others disappeared, the kind-hearted person who spoke up for Ningyu just now was surrounded by many martial artists. Everyone started talking at once. You also know the means of the Zhao family. They can cover the sky with one hand in Realm King City. That's right. I advise you to leave Realm King City as soon as possible. It's best to go to the capital. Although the Zhao family is very powerful, they definitely can't intervene in the capital. The discussions that came from all around made the kind-hearted person feel a little warm. However, the kind-hearted person didn't seem to care. He cupped his fists and said, "Thank you for your kindness. The Zhao family is indeed very powerful in Realm King City, but I have no choice because I have important matters to attend to in Realm King City." After saying this, the kind-hearted person walked straight towards Realm King City. Sigh. Looking at the back of the kind-hearted person, the martial artists in this area sighed one after another. The person involved didn't take it seriously, and they were also too lazy to get involved. Not long after, they dispersed. Wait here for now. Your first match will begin in 10 minutes. Clang! A sentence was followed by the sound of a door being closed. Two voices sounded in Ningyu's ears at the same time. It's really infuriating. Ningyu, if it weren't for you stopping me, I would have torn them to pieces. The Dark Emperor lay on the ground angrily and said furiously, "Although your cultivation has reached the half-step manifestation realm, if you want to establish a foothold in Realm King City, you may still be a little lacking." Ningyu shook his head and then paced back and forth in the room. Chapter 797. The bet, then what are you waiting for? It's just a broken house. Let me break it down. The Dark Emperor's hair stood on end, and his aura instantly climbed to the half-step manifestation state. Whoosh! Whoosh! Just as the Dark Emperor's aura climbed to the half-step manifestation realm, in another sealed room, two young martial artists stood up with a whoosh. They stared at the Dark Emperor in the crystal ball, their eyes filled with shock. Qiu Jian, this black dog is not simple, one of the young men in the room said in a deep voice. Of course it's not simple. Otherwise, I wouldn't have invited it to the Colosseum. The man called Qiu Jian quickly returned to normal and smirked. Actually, I'm not very interested in this black dog. I'm more interested in its owner. The young man said he must be extraordinary to be able to make a half-step manifestation state dog listen to him. Qiu Jian waved his hand and said, Su Jia, don't worry. The first match will be between that kid and my demonic dragon beast. We'll know his true strength then. Su Jia nodded. Dragon beast? Su Jia raised his eyebrows and said, If I'm not wrong, your dragon beast is not weak. It can fight against an early stage manifestation state martial artist. Aren't you afraid that the dragon beast will tear that kid into pieces? You must know that he has a lot of secrets. I know what I'm doing, Qiu Jian said. All right, let's wait and see. Su Jia shrugged. Slap. In the room where Ningyu and the rest were, Ningyu kicked the Dark Emperor's butt and said, Don't cause trouble. The Dark Emperor's aura dropped after being kicked by Ningyu. He looked aggrieved. Woof woof. Seeing the aggrieved look on the Dark Emperor's face, Furball jumped from Ningyu's shoulder onto the Dark Emperor's body, roaring a few times as if trying to console the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor closed his eyes and ignored Furball. If we want to find out what happened in Regional King City, we must find the young master of the Zhao family on the city wall. Ningyu sat on the ground with his legs crossed and chose to rest. Time flew. In the blink of an eye, 10 minutes had passed. Creak! The door to Ningyu's room was pushed open, and a half-step manifestation realm martial artist walked in. Let's go! The half-step manifestation realm martial artist did not waste any time and went straight to the point. Ningyu did not bother with the half-step manifestation realm martial artist. He got up and walked out of the room. The Dark Emperor also stood up from the ground and followed behind Ningyu. You can't leave. However, the Dark Emperor had just stood up when the half-step manifestation realm cultivator berated him. Only one person and one beast can participate in every battle in the beast arena. You two dogs will stay here obediently. Whoosh! The Dark Emperor had a fiery temper. This time, even though Ningyu was suppressing him, he still exploded. Stepping on the ground with his hind legs, the Dark Emperor instantly rushed out. Bang! The Dark Emperor's explosive power was very fierce. Before the half-step manifestation realm martial artist could react, the Dark Emperor had already pushed him to the ground. Stab! The Dark Emperor knew the severity of the situation. He only used his front claws to draw a huge wound on the half-step manifestation realm martial artist's chest before getting up and leaving. I want you dead! The half-step manifestation realm martial artist stood up from the ground, his face filled with anger. Don't let him die. You said it just now that every battle in the beast arena is one person and one beast. Why don't we make an exception for the next battle and have 2 people and 2 beasts? Ningyu said calmly, I'll fight with a demonic beast, and you'll fight with him. Ningyu pointed at the Dark Emperor and said, If that's the case, it's in line with the rules. What do you think? This. The half-step manifestation realm martial artist opened his mouth slightly, a little hesitant. Agree to it. At this moment, Qiu Jian's voice rang in the half-step manifestation realm martial artist's ears. He has 1 person and 2 beasts on his side. We have 2 people and 1 beast on our side. I'll give you another half-step manifestation realm martial artist. All right. Qiu Jian's voice rang in his ears. The half-step manifestation realm martial artist hurriedly nodded and said, I agree to it. Then what are you waiting for? Hurry up and leave. I still have to leave after the battle, Ningyu said impatiently. You'll be crying later. The half-step manifestation realm martial artist said fiercely in his heart, then led the way in front. Not long after, Ningyu and the rest arrived at a huge square. Kill. Dragon beast. Quickly tear them apart. I've bet 1,000,000 supreme-grade essence crystals on this battle. The dragon beast is the mount of the Zhao family's young master. It's extremely powerful. This battle is obviously giving us essence crystals. There's no suspense. That's right. There's no suspense at all. Who wouldn't want to do a deal that's guaranteed to be profitable? As soon as Ningyu stepped into the square, a deafening sound rang in his ears. This was the beast arena. The feeling of his blood boiling surged in his face. Ningyu took a deep breath, and his gaze fell on a monstrous demonic beast in the middle of the square. The monstrous demonic beast was a little strange. It looked like a horse, but it wasn't. It looked like a dragon, but it wasn't. It didn't look like one at all. Buzz! The next moment, the space beside the dragon beast was torn apart, and a half-step manifestation realm old man appeared. The moment the old man appeared, Ningyu frowned. He vaguely felt that something was wrong. To confirm his thoughts, Ningyu shifted his gaze to the half-step manifestation realm martial artist next to him. I still can't be sure. I can only confirm their identities after the battle. Ningyu took a deep breath and murmured, Everyone quiet. This battle is a little special. There are a total of 3 people and 3 demonic beasts. Suddenly, a powerful voice sounded in the air above the beast arena. Although the number of people fighting has changed, the previous odds are still the same. The winner of the beast arena will be 1 o'clock, 01, and the winner of the other side will be 100. Swoosh! Although they knew that the odds were a little ridiculous, everyone still participated enthusiastically. Without exception, almost everyone bet on the beast arena to win. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. Moreover, as long as they bet a lot, the win was still quite considerable. All right, I now announce that the battle begins. The powerful voice sounded again. However, this time the powerful voice was interrupted by Ningyu. Cough, cough. Ningyu coughed twice before saying in a clear voice, I wonder if I can bet on myself to win. You want to bet on yourself to win? The powerful voice came from Qiu Jian. Hearing Ningyu's strange request, Qiu Jian hesitated. Can't I? Ningyu asked doubtfully. No problem, of course, Qiu Jian said. We're open for business. If someone is willing to bet, we can't not accept it. All right, here are 100,000 king-grade essence crystals. Ningyu flicked his sleeves, and a storage bag flew into the air in an instant. Actually, Ningyu had quite a lot of king-grade essence crystals on him. Other than the ones he used previously, he still had about 1,000,000. However, Ningyu would not foolishly take out 1,000,000 king-grade essence crystals to bet. One had to know 1,000,000 king-grade essence crystals, according to 100. At that time, the Beast Arena would have to pay 100 million king-grade essence crystals. How could the Beast Arena take out this amount? Chapter 798. Demonic Dragon Paw. Qiu Jian tore through the void and held the storage bag firmly in his hand. After separating out a wisp of perception to inspect the crystals in the storage pouch, Qiu Jian said in a deep voice, There are indeed 100,000 royal-grade crystals in there. As long as you can win, the Bestial Battle Arena will compensate you 10 million royal-grade crystals. Rumble. The martial artists around the Colosseum were paying attention to what Qiu Jian was saying. Qiu Jian's resolute and decisive words caused everyone to be in a trance. 10 million royal-grade crystals? If converted into royal-grade essence crystals, It was 100,000 pieces. The Colosseum probably couldn't afford it, even if they lost all their money. You're thinking too much. That's right. That person is either a fool or an idiot. He actually used 100,000 royal-grade crystals to bet on his victory. Isn't that clearly giving crystals to the Colosseum? You can't say that. Maybe that fool has an ulterior motive and wants the Colosseum to let him go. Yes, that's possible. After all, the strength of the demonic dragon is not for show. The number of martial artists that died in its hands in the past few days is at least 80, if not 100. Let's wait and see. Ning, you didn't care at all about the discussions that came from the surroundings. At this moment, Ning Yu said to the Dark Emperor beside him, "You and Furball shouldn't expose your strength now. Leave this beast and 2 people to me." Ning Yu, you actually want to keep such a good thing to yourself? The Dark Emperor curled his lips and said, "Although the bloodline of that demonic dragon is much weaker than a real dragon, it also has an extremely thin bloodline. Devouring it will be of great help to me." Is that true? Ning, you didn't dare to believe the Dark Emperor's words. He frowned. Of course. Ever since Furball gave me a bit of bloodline power, I suddenly realized that I have the ability to fuse with other demonic beast bloodlines. The Dark Emperor said proudly, "Woof woof." Furball barked a few times in agreement. "All right, I'll leave that demonic dragon to you. Leave the other 2 to me." The Dark Emperor had already said it like this. If Ning Yu still did not agree, it would be a little unreasonable. Now, I announce the official start of the battle. Right at this moment, Qiu Jian's voice resounded in the sky above the war beast arena. Roar! Following Qiu Jian's words, the demonic dragon beast roared towards the sky. It rose from the ground and charged towards Ningyu. Chi-Chi, the demonic dragon beast, was very fast. It squeezed and dispersed the air. Ha ha ha! The demonic dragon's strength has increased again. I remember that it was only at the late yin-yang stage in the last battle. Now, it has actually advanced to the peak yin-yang stage. The demonic dragon beast is my lucky star. I have won more than 100,000 top-grade essence crystals from it. This time, I bet all my wealth on it. I hope I can make a lot of money. Look, that kid is scared silly. Suddenly, a martial artist pointed at Ningyu and shouted. This martial artist's words attracted everyone's attention to Ningyu. They saw Ningyu standing in the middle of the war beast arena with his eyes closed. He did not have the slightest intention of making a move. Ha ha ha, he really is scared silly. Demonic dragon beast, I love you to death. Demonic dragon beast, I want to give birth to monkeys for you. In a room in the war beast arena, Qiu Jian played with the storage bag in his hand and said he casually took out 100,000 King Great Essence crystals. It seems that he has a lot of King Great Essence crystals on him. He might even have Royal Great Essence crystals. Beside him, Su Jia said, Qiu Jian, keep an eye on the demonic dragon beast. Don't let it kill that kid. Qiu Jian waved his hand and said, don't worry. He has a lot of secrets. I won't let him die before I squeeze out all of them. Su Jian nodded and said, that's right. Let's see how many moves he can withstand under the demonic dragon beast's attack first. In the middle of the war beast arena, Ningyu still had his eyes closed. However, although Ningyu did not move, the Dark Emperor behind him moved. The Dark Emperor bent its legs slightly and suddenly dashed out. The Dark Emperor was also very fast. It was not much slower than the demonic dragon beast. Moreover, the Dark Emperor let out a roar as it dashed out. Woof! In response, the demonic dragon beast barked again. Roar! Bang! The demonic dragon beast and the Dark Emperor collided. A crisp sound came from the center of the war beast arena and spread out in all directions. Swoosh! The sudden change caused the people around the war beast arena to stand up from their chairs. Everyone's eyes were wide open as they looked at the center of the war beast arena in disbelief. To be more precise, they were looking at the demonic dragon beast that had fallen to the ground in the middle of the war beast arena. One move, just one move. The demonic dragon beast at the peak of Inyang realm was defeated. What was that black dog's background? To think that it could defeat the demonic dragon beast at the peak of Inyang realm. One must know that the demonic dragon beast had once defeated a half-step manifestation realm martial artist. Why was that black dog so powerful? Crack! In a certain room, Qiu Jian slammed his palm on the chair he was sitting on, shattering the chair made of 100-year-old wood. That black dog strength is at least between half-step manifestation realm and early-stage manifestation realm. Qiu Jian's face revealed a cold expression. Qiu Jian, should we get someone to take down that black dog? Su Jia asked coldly. There's no need. The demonic dragon beast still has a trump card. Qiu Jian's lips curled up as he smirked. Are you saying that we should make the demonic dragon beast go berserk? Su Jia asked hesitantly. That's right. Let's wait and watch the show. Qiu Jian said, not only can the demonic dragon beast force the black dog to use its full strength, but it can also make that kid give himself away. That's right. Other than the demonic dragon beast going berserk, the half-step manifestation realm old man that entered the arena last is actually not at the half-step manifestation realm. He's at the mid-stage manifestation realm. Swoosh! In the war beast arena, the Dark Emperor charged out again after his successful attack. The Dark Emperor did not want any unforeseen events to happen. In his understanding, one had to kill all the enemies. Oh no! Dark Emperor, come back! However, the Dark Emperor had only taken a few steps when Ningyu pulled him back. Ningyu, what are you trying to? Gulp. The Dark Emperor complained without turning his head as he was pulled back by Ningyu. However, before the Dark Emperor could finish his complaint, his eyes widened and he could not help but swallow a mouthful of saliva. Roar! Roar! Not far away, the demonic dragon beast roared a few times. Then, the demonic dragon beast stood up from the ground and its aura suddenly increased. Crack! Crack! As the demonic dragon's body emitted all sorts of cracking sounds, the demonic dragon's aura skyrocketed. Peak Inyang realm, half-step manifestation realm, early stage manifestation realm, middle stage manifestation realm. In just a few seconds, the demonic dragon beast's aura had increased from peak Inyang realm to middle stage manifestation realm. It's going berserk. The moment the demonic dragon beast's cultivation base increased, Ningyu knew why the demonic dragon beast's cultivation base increased. Going berserk. The demonic dragon beast did not hesitate to consume its life force to complete the berserk transformation. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.